right. All right, everybody. Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to ask that you sisters cover your heads. Brothers, uncover your heads. We're going to stand and face Jerusalem.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endureth forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endureth forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Mighty One of Jacob.
The Mighty One of Jacob.
The King of Kings.
King of kings.
And Lord of Lords.
And Lord of lords.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Today's scripture reading comes from Jeremiah 4, verses 1 through 4. If thou wilt return, O Israel, saith the Lord, return unto me. And if thou wilt put away thine abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. And thou shalt swear, the Lord liveth, in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness. And the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. For thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up the fallow ground, and sow not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord, and take away the foreskin of your heart, ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire, and burn that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. And that was Jeremiah 4, verses 1 through 4. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading here and doing of his word. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, we'll have a quick selection from the choir. It don't matter, I guess that side.
Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise is to our God. Sing hallelujah to our God. Glory, hallelujah is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise is to our God. Sing hallelujah to our God. Glory, hallelujah is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise Yes, he is. God, my Savior. God, my healer. God, my deliverer. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise, 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 every praise is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise, 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 every praise is to our God.
Every praise is most certainly due to our God. Woke us up this morning, started us on our way, blood running warm in our veins, and clothed in our right mind, knowing that God's in full control. Hope y'all know. I do. Enter into his house with thanksgiving. Into his courts with praise. Y'all could be dead.
That's right.
Spiritually and physically.
Sorry, y'all. Just gonna make life easy. What? Well, peace to everybody. How y'all doing?
Well, that's why you got that sun, man.
That ain't heavy. He's right, though. Okay, so, any rate, I gotta catch my breath. Because I should have had my son carry that from the third floor. So, today we're gonna deal with some end time prophecy, y'all. So, look, sometime, and I know myself when I was growing up, I was always led to believe the end time prophecy stuff was for people who like studying the Bible. Like you really want to know the Bible. Like you don't need this for salvation. But it's not about, thank you. It's not about needing it for salvation. It's really about understanding God, understanding how he operates. Also, when you look at the prophecies and you see how they put together, this allows you to see how airtight the Bible is. So at any rate, we got a lot of work to do. We don't have a whole lot of scriptures, but we got a lot of reading. This ain't gonna be hard. I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible. The only thing I'm asking from y'all is, does anybody have a Sharpie? so that I can write on that, because that's going to make it easy. Yep, so that's all we're going to really need. Thank you. This one pink, though. That ain't going to be too visual. Water, yeah. Please.
I got a blue one.
Blue one will work. Yeah, yeah, there we go. There we go. I catch, I think.
Good work, sis.
She is not throwing out pictures. No, perfect, thank you. So no, you're good. So when we get to that, we'll get to it. I'm gonna try to make this as easy. I know everybody not good with history. I know everybody's not necessarily good with numbers and all that kind of stuff, remembering names. Today we're gonna watch a movie. That's how we're gonna try. That's how I want you to get this in your head. It's kind of like a movie. And we're gonna start the movie off really, we're gonna start it with Jesus. And then, but Jesus is gonna make a statement that we're gonna need to comprehend. So then we're gonna take it back to the beginning of this movie, but really the Bible. We're gonna take it back to the beginning so we can see the origin of everything, the origin of Babylon, really. And then from there, we're going to take for granted that we all understand that Israel had its time, its rule, its kings. And then we're going to see the end of Israel's rulership, into which Babylon, a nation, comes in. Once this nation takes over, that is what we would call the time of the Gentile. And it won't be over, or the time of the white man. We can say it like that, so we can comprehend what Gentile means. Everybody might not know what that means. So the time of the rule of the white man, from Babylon all the way to Rome, through its kings. Like when we went to school, we took world history. Most of us should have took world history. We learned about serfs, and we learned about knights, and we learned about feudalism, terms that we never thought we would probably even need again. But that dynasty, those people that ruled during the time that we learned about in our history class, is really the Holy Roman Empire. And that's what Babylon turned into. To this day, though. And so we're going to walk it all the way down to the end, and we're going to understand the process of how God, like, what is he doing, okay? So this should be real easy, believe it or not. Even though it might seem like it's a whole lot, it's not going to be. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, and we're going to start this off in Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. And we're going to read from 20 to 24. Luke chapter 21, I got a couple of maps we're going to look at so we can try to identify stuff. But look, when I pull out a map, you don't have to look at me. I can tell you everybody pretty much got a smartphone. I can tell you pretty much what we're looking at, and you can simply Google it. Here's the reason I say that, and here's the reason I like to operate like that. In my house, I have a library of books. Books probably we can't find, but you don't have access to that. You don't need to have what I have in order to understand this at all. You know what I'm saying? Those were added things away on my learning, and you can do that if as you learn more, you can spend more money. That's what it was, spend more money. You know, you could do that. But right now, technology is so advanced. Like each one, we're gonna get to some kings later. Each one of these kings, I just Googled their name on my phone, and it told me when I Googled their name exactly what the information I needed to know about them. So what I'm getting at is, for what it's worth, you have in your hand already, I like to say that the smartphone is all the thoughts of man, whether it be good or evil. You know what I'm saying? Because you can pretty much find out. I found out how to rob a bank this week. I was like, yo, they actually still robbing banks, huh? You know what I'm saying? Because somebody was on there giving the whole plan, and I'm like, yo, this ain't TV. So the point I'm getting at is all the thoughts of man, all of them are on the web, whether it's good or whether it's evil. Most of it, as we know, is evil. So at any rate, like robbing the bank, by the way, very evil. Luke 21 and verse 20 through 24. When we get there, we're going to go ahead and get started. Go ahead, bro.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
All right, so look, where we starting off right now, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of make a timeline so that we can get it. And we're going to put Jesus in the center of the timeline, JC. That's what we're going to do. All right, so right now, we kind of like right here in Jesus. They say he was around 4 BC to 30 AD, all right, or 30 Christian era, whatever. So we just gonna we're not gonna do it like that. We just gonna put him as the center. And we're going to base everything off of Jesus. So we will put 33. That's what we're doing. All right. Now, what point is this? We're 2,000 years after. You know what I mean? It's been 2,000 years ago since Christ walked the earth. Everything else in history is going to be before then. And we'll get there as we go. Man has only been on this earth for 6,000 years. Yeah. So Adam took up the first year. And the second year, we could pretty much say Noah took up. So really, everything that we learn in history, or everything that we even will learn today, will be in a 4,000 year span. 2,000 years before Jesus, 2,000 years after Jesus. Go ahead. Yeah, I have 33 written up there just as a, that's how old he was when he died. And we're just going to make that the year that we're going to put on here as our center point. Okay? So, and look, y'all know me by now. I really don't mind if you stuck and you ask a question. We don't have a lot of scriptures. It's just us. I ain't worrying about the camera. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be able to keep up too. They may have the same questions online even, you know? So, and when you should see Jerusalem, so around 33 AD, Jerusalem existed. Jesus was there then. Compassed about with armies, know that desolation is not. So when Jesus walked the earth, Rome was the ruler. And he said, when you see Jerusalem being compassed about with some armies, know it's about to go down for us. Go ahead, keep reading.
Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out.
Yep.
And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
So at verse 22, what Jesus is saying is some things that was written in the Old Testament that have to come to pass. So this is what this is about. This is the start of the things that have been written coming to pass. Go ahead.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Go ahead.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So we're starting this lesson discussing the Gentile taking over Jerusalem in its totality. And we're going to end it that way as well. We're going to end it where, we're going to end it where the Lord takes it back from Jerusalem. From the Gentile. So right now we starting the lesson off. Jesus around 33 AD, about 2,000 years ago said that Jerusalem is going to be laid desolate until the time of the Gentile be fulfilled. Now, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 10 now. And the reason we're going to Genesis chapter 10 is so that I can explain to you how the world and its rulership went. And I'm going to write it on the board so we can kind of get it too. But the world and its rulership. So the first ruler ever that mankind has as a world ruler is going to be Nimrod. So go ahead to Genesis chapter 10 and pick it up in verse 6 and start from there.
And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim, and Put and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Sheba, Havilah, and Sabta, and Raamah.
All right, so look, what we're looking at right now is Noah came off the boat, and he had 3 sons. He had Ham, Japheth, and Shem. We are what we like to call Shemitic. Your Middle Eastern people, the Arabs, they would be Shemitic. The so-called Jew, they would be Shemitic. All right. Now Noah had 3 sons: Shem, Japheth. Now Japheth would be your European, your Asian, your Australian, or what we like to call the white people. But it's not just what we call the white people either, because we don't call the Chinaman white. We call him yellow when they talk about color. So that's why I'm just trying to get you an idea. These people come from Japheth, one of Noah's sons. And then Ham, another one of Noah's sons, is where your black people come from. Not us. And when I say your black people, I'm talking about your African nations. We are not Africans, brothers and sisters. We were not Africans. First of all, understand Africa is a continent. And if you were to ask someone from the continent of Africa where they're from, they're going to say, I'm from Nigeria, Sudan, I'm from Ethiopia, I'm from, Ghana, wherever they're from. They're going to give you a name of a place. You're not, because you're not from there. See, what you have to understand, and we'll look at that in a little bit too, is that we went into captivity. We were from the Middle East. We were from what they call the Middle East, which is where Jerusalem is located. Don't worry, we're going to look on the map a little bit and see all that. And then we went down into the land of Africa, or the land of Ham, and we became slaves and captives in their land. All right, now, going back to Genesis chapter 10. I'm going to start at verse 1. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto the sons were born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomar, Magog, Media, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus. The sons of Gomar, Ashkenaz, Riphtah, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodam. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their family and their nation. So what they're saying is that these sons of Japheth all went to a certain place after the Tower of Babel, because this is when the division took place. The Tower of Babel is discussed in the next chapter, if you would like to read it. Now, the first ruler of the world is under Ham. So verse 6 says, and the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. Each one of these nations, you can actually look them up, and you'll find who they are, even today. Like, for example, Mizraim was the Egyptian. If I'm not mistaken, Cush is the Ethiopian. And I could be getting them confused, but, at the end of the day, you can look them up. All right? So then it says, read verse 8.
And Cush begot Nimrod.
So one of Cush's sons was Nimrod. Go ahead.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Uh-huh.
And he was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord.
Uh-huh.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel.
Okay, so Nimrod's beginning of his kingdom was Babel. So the origin or the first Babylon is ruled by a Hamite. I don't want to say a black man, because when we say a black man, we really identifying with ourselves, because that's what we have become to be called in America. Okay, so we don't want to use that term when we're discussing Ham and we're discussing us, because we're not them. So the first ruler of the world was an Hamite. Now, what I have a map of, and I'm just gonna kind of walk around, but you can look at this on your own. And when I say your own, you can kind of Google it. But what I'm gonna walk around a little bit for us to see is the location of where this Babylon was. So here, our standard point always is Egypt. Egypt is in Genesis. Egypt is here today. Does everybody understand that? Yes. And it is the same place. All right, Moses was in the Nile River. It's the same river that they have to this day. Okay? Now, when you look on our map here, and I'm kind of walking around, but like I said, you can actually, on your phone, just type up Babylon, and you're going to see the same place, okay? But what we're looking at is when you leave Egypt, and you were to travel east and north, this is where, when you see the Tigris-Euphrates River, this is where you will see, like how she pulled out her Bible, it's in the back of the Bible. This is the original Babylon. So you have a Persian Gulf that's above the original Babylon. Over here by this Tigris-Euphrates River, you see something that says the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. That's like one of the wonders of the world. It's like called the Hanging Gardens. That's right. It's like some thing they got over there in that particular land. So again, here's Egypt, Mediterranean Sea, Spain, Italy. So the original Babylon is here somewhere. Okay? And for those that see, y'all know my advanced class in the back. I know y'all got this. But if you don't, you just come holler at me. But straight up though, you can eat and simply Google this as well. You don't have, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to have these particular books. It's just we don't have our building yet, so we don't have maps around, and we don't have the big screen like we had. So we're gonna improvise it a little bit. And paper costs money. That's what I can say, because we could print all of this, but it's so much that I would be printing today to get this done, because we just beginning. Okay, so the place that Nimrod ruled from is what we know as Babylon. He is the original Babylonian king. There is no arguing with that, meaning that the first king of the world was a man of color. Not only was the first king of the world, but the rulers of the world after that, the Egyptians, were people of color as well, and they ruled the world. Sennacherib and people like all that stuff, when you read there, those were all people of color, and they ruled the world. Now, if you understand time, and I'm gonna put this up on our board so we don't get lost here. I'm gonna lose the marker. And we're not gonna rush today, so I don't want y'all to feel like I'm about to be up here rushing, but I do want to make sure we get all of this. I'll do the marker, man. What's up, man? Thank you. Where you see it? All the way over there. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, so the time period that we was just looking at, where Nimrod ruled, is way over here. Oh, we got it up here. Nimrod, about 2,000 years before Christ. Most of the information that we're going to cover today is going to be between Nimrod and Christ. By the time Christ is here, Rome is on the scene. And we know this, and we'll get to that part. We know this because Rome, the person who really had Jesus crucified was a Roman. It was Pontius Pilate. You know what I mean? Like, you can go read that. So we're going to get from Nimrod to Rome very shortly, okay? So where are we going next? So let's go now to 2 Chronicles chapter 36. All right? So what we're about to do in 2 Chronicles 36 is we're going to leave Israel. So after Nimrod and Egypt and all the Hamites ruled, then the Lord allowed us to rule. So we're going to put just somewhere right here, we're going to say King David. I know y'all probably can't read this because it's small, but you can come up, take a picture if you like. But, you know, you can write it down as you see me writing it down. But what we have is Nimrod on our timeline, and then we have King David. And the reason I have King David here is because we're familiar with King David. And what I try to do is leave enough gap here to let you know that from Nimrod to David was less time than we're going to get from David to Jesus. We're going to cover more in this span. That's the only reason why I left the gap. We're going to cover more in this span. I'm not going to write the information here on this page. We're going to lift this page up, and we're going to have another page that just consists of this area right here. Okay? Y'all follow me?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, so now what we're doing is King David was the first true king of Israel. What do you mean first true king of Israel? Because David ruled out of Jerusalem. When Saul was the king, he didn't rule out of Jerusalem. All right, so we're going to say David is the first true king of Israel. He ruled both the northern and the southern tribes. And then after that, you got Solomon, his son, and then his kingdom was split into two. Once his kingdom was split into two, the northern tribe, which was Israel, had a ruler, and they go into captivity first. Now we're going to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and we're going to pick this up in verse 13, and we're going to watch the rest of Israel go into its first level of captivity. The reason I say first level of captivity is because we're still in captivity now, but it wasn't to the same degree that they were in, okay? And we'll understand that. So we're going to 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and we're going to start it at verse 13. And when you get there, so we're going to do a lot of reading today, y'all. You know, like look, sometimes days we're going to get here, it's going to be easy. Sometimes days you're going to get here, you're going to have to work. This is a Bible study class. You got to understand that. So some days I'm in straight teacher mode, and we just straight students today, okay? So, I mean, and if you, like I said, if you falling behind, if it's not making sense, it's no need for you to sit here in confusion. We can get it clear before we leave today. And by the way, Babylon means confusion, just by the way. So, no sense on you sitting in Babylon when we can go ahead and take you to the kingdom for the day. All right, so let's get 2 Chronicles 36, 13 through 23. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. Moreover, all chief of the priests.
You know what? When I started reading this, he trying to tell us he ain't keeping up with us right now. We moving too fast for him. That's all right, young man. You know, to give yourself a little time, you'll catch up. No, so when I started reading this, I started a little higher. So I'm gonna start at verse 1. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah. So Josiah was one of the kings of Jerusalem, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king of Egypt, that's a Hamite, put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and 1 talent of gold. And the king of Egypt made Elkim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name into Jehoiakim. And Necho took Joahaz, his brother, and carried him to Egypt. And Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So we're going to stop right there. So now, first of all, let me say to you, Nebuchadnezzar is not a Babylonian. He is no more a Babylonian than, what's the president name today? McCain? Is that his name? Dang, Lord have mercy. He is no more a Babylonian as Biden is an American. Do you understand? Meaning Biden, your nationality does not originate in America. Neither does Nebuchadnezzar's nationality originate in Babylon. The original Babylonians were a dark race of people. They were Hamitic. But just like the original, well, there is no original American. Don't ever forget that. There is no original Americans. You talk about the Native Americans, they ain't the original. They walked over here as well. But for argument's sake, the Native American we will say is the original American. Where ain't no president ever been a Native American. You follow what I'm getting at? Yet they all been American presidents. And I'm saying that because people try to argue about what color Nebuchadnezzar is. Nebuchadnezzar is a Chaldean. The Bible would tell you that. He would tell you that. Chaldeans come from, basically Chaldeans, they come from Japheth. You understand? This is the beginning of the Gentile, the Chaldean. Okay? So I'm just bringing that out as we walk this path, because I'm trying to clear up some of the things that may be challenging and to others as we study this, okay? So verse 9, go ahead.
Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. So, you know, while he's ruling in Babylon, he's still saying that, look, I don't mind if y'all keep a king down there in Jerusalem. Just know I rule the world. It's just like America. America don't care if Cuba got a king or a president, dictator, whatever, Mexico. You understand? They don't care. It's like you can have what you want to have. Just know that when it's all said and done, America looking at it like they the boss. Okay? That's just a way that we can understand what Nebuchadnezzar's doing. All right? But eventually what's going to end up happening is we ain't going to have nothing, but we'll get there. Go ahead. Zedekiah was 20 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. Right. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord. And he also rebelled against the king of Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. I had a conversation with somebody this week where we were talking about reprobating, how Nebuchadnezzar, when you read, I think it's in Daniel chapter 4, could be mistaken, but it's in Daniel where the Lord made him reprobate for 7 years. And their question to me was, did Nebuchadnezzar serve God? And my answer was, to the degree that God wanted him to serve him. Now, when you look at it, you see here it says, and he rebelled against the king of Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God.
Like Nebuchadnezzar comes and was like, it's kind of like somebody coming in here to us. Y'all need to swear to y'all God that y'all gonna do A, B, C, and D. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Nebuchadnezzar was with this king. Like, you need to swear to your God, which happens to be the God of God, the true and living God. He was like, look, you need to swear by this guy. And what was his name? Which king didn't do it? Zedekiah. That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah, Zedekiah, he reneged on that. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, but he stiffened his neck, hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. See, Nebuchadnezzar trying to save the children of Israel. He don't want to have to come in and destroy them. Because really, at the end of the day, if you are a good king, if you are a good leader, we don't want to see death. I mean, even like I watch a lot of those drug movies, you know what I'm saying? And the best of the drug movie leaders always be like, look, man, when we bring in, you know, when violence comes, we never win. We always lose. The police come in, whatever. Because at the end of the day, that's not what you want. You don't want death. So that ain't the route he want. Nebuchadnezzar wants y'all to serve your God and pay your taxes. You know what I'm saying? Comply to paying your taxes, serve your God, everything cool. We can do this till the wheels fall off. That's how Nebuchadnezzar looking at it. Go ahead, what verse?
Verse 14.
Uh-huh.
Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen.
He was like, bro, not only did the Zedekiah trip out, but even all the people was tripping. Nobody in Israel was doing their job. We were serving other gods at this time. All right, go ahead.
And polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and his dwelling place.
Right, the Lord had compassion on Israel and on Jerusalem, so he kept sending prophets to like tell us, yo, get your act together. Get it together or else. You know we took the or else. We always take the or else. Go ahead. That's because we don't believe fat meat greasy. You know what I mean? We got to go in there and touch the skillet when it's hot. And you see it's cooking something. Why is you going to touch it? And that's how we are. These are forefathers. So it ain't nothing new. Go ahead. Keep reading.
But they mocked the messengers of God.
Right.
And despised his word.
Yeah.
And misused his prophets. Until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people. Till there was no remedy.
He was like, man, ain't nothing I could do no more, man. And that's how the Lord will operate even with you as an individual. He will keep warning you until it ain't no remedy. Until he determines, you know what, ain't nothing I can do for you, man. Right. If I done did more for you than I done did for all these other 80 people that's still sitting over here and they acting right. So you know what, I'm done with you. Go ahead.
Therefore, he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees.
Right, that's Nebuchadnezzar. He's a Chaldean, even though he's ruling in Babylon. Right. It's just like, you know, John F. Kennedy was Italian or Irish. I ain't sure, one of the two. You know what I'm saying? But he was ruling in America. And when I say that, I'm saying his father's work, because he ended up being here. This the melting pot. We didn't all turn into American citizens, you know what I mean? But that's not what we are, though. All right? And I know most Gentiles, if you ask them who they are, they're going to tell you, yeah, I'm this, I'm French, I'm Irish, I'm Dutch. They're going to tell you. They're going to know. Right. It's amazing how they're going to know. And what's more amazing is that we're not expected to know. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you African, right? You know what I'm saying? But then, like, look how dumb. You don't hear them saying, yeah, I'm European. Or, you know, like, that's stupid. Or if somebody from Asia, if they say they Asian, they only saying that because they look at it like you ain't gonna know the difference no way where they tell you from. You know what I'm saying? They know they're not Asian. They know they Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, Chinese, you know, so it is more Asian countries. Don't let those few that I just named define what we think Asia is, because man, it's all kind of joints in Asia. It's a country in Asia called Korea. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all familiar with that, but I'm just saying it's so many. So at any rate, go ahead, keep reading. What verse?
Verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young man or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand, and all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king, and of his princes. All these he brought to Babylon.
Go ahead.
And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof.
I want y'all to think of a couple of things when you start hearing this. So, we was in our land, we had libraries, I'm sure, books, whatever, you know what I'm saying? We had writings, whatever, in our language. The Chaldeans didn't speak our language. The Chaldeans have now destroyed all of our information and they're putting us in captivity. You're going to see that in a minute. Here's what I'm asking you. So where's the Hebrew? And when I say that, just on a side note, like, what make you think, because a lot of people be trying to say, in order for you to understand the Bible, or in order for you to understand these words, or to understand God, you need to know Hebrew. But you're not understanding that, our stuff been got destroyed. Like, we're looking at it right here, we have nothing. And then we're going to be in captivity a long time. Y'all ain't speaking African right now. Y'all speak the language of your captor. Well, they was in captivity longer than us. So what language did you think they walked out of there speaking? The language of their captor. And that's what the Bible is going to be written in. But that's just a whole nother, as we learn the Bible and as we learn about what we do around here and how people, because like I say, it's going to be people that's too smart for their own good. Yeah, you need to learn the Hebrew. No, you don't. Y'all don't even know where you definitely can't learn this Hebrew.
No.
This Hebrew been lost. Wait a minute, by the way, the other Hebrew lost too.
Yeah.
To the point where now the Hebrew that we now own comes from the 1800s. You can look this up.
Yep.
And it's what we call Yiddish.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it being Hebrew is when you go look it up, it tell you it comes from German.
Yep.
Now how you gonna be Hebrew coming from German? That don't even make sense. Like, that makes zero sense whatsoever. Yet they put it right there in all our books for us to see. All right. So this is, like I say, these are things as we learn and understand the Bible and understand how God is operating, all of that. These are small little things, details that keep us on our square. Because ultimately what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help us get some things in our mind so that you can't take away. Like for example, it's a big deal. And most of us, we think it's probably real stupid. Where you say Jerusalem somewhere down in Africa. Like, that don't even register in my mind. Like, are you kidding me? But there are things in the Bible that will help you understand that what you saying, your new theory, is no way it can make sense. God is doing too much right here in this land for what you saying to make any sense. So what we're doing by lessons like these is we building a foundation that's solid, rock solid, that you can't step away from, which keeps everything else in its proper place. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So where we at, bro?
Verse 20.
All right, go ahead.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon.
So now the children of Israel, we going into Babylon now, the land of it. That's where Daniel is. When you go open up the book of Daniel, he's right there in Babylon. Go ahead.
Where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the king of Persia.
So look, he say that we go into Babylon, and we there until the reign of the king of Persia. So we're gonna make sure we put this up here and get this together. So we're gonna do timeline downward this time. Maybe we can make it a little bigger. So we're gonna go from 2 Chronicles 36. We're gonna work down. And the king then was, we're going to just say this is the start of Babylon. And then it said, read that one verse again.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
All right, and so we're going to say Persia is next. And then we're going to fill it all the way out. We're going to put Jesus down here again. That's what we're going to put Jesus down here. So we can keep our time, and we're going to say 33 again. Okay? So it's similar to this. We're just going to have more information. Okay? And when I say similar, because we're going to end up coming back to this. But our reference point right now is Jesus, and here go the end of the world over here. On this map now, we're just going to simply start with Babylon, 2 Chronicles 36. and we got Jesus here, and we're gonna go down in time, meaning this would take, we down here somewhere, okay? This would be 2020 down here somewhere, all right? So, keep reading.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath.
So what he's saying is, look, part of the reason we got put out the land is because we couldn't keep the Sabbath day. You know what we do every week? We couldn't do it in Jerusalem. And the Lord said, no, Jerusalem gonna keep the Sabbath. That's how important keeping the Sabbath day holy is.
Right.
And notice I said keeping it holy, because a lot of times we just be like, keep the Sabbath. Like, no, the objective is to remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy.
Right.
Okay? So, with that being said, the Lord was like, man, you can't keep this Sabbath day holy. Get out my land. I can't do this. All right? And we did it for how, and this book covers how much time again? Keep reading.
To fulfill 70 years. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia.
Right, so we taking it from Nebuchadnezzar to the next king, which is Cyrus, the king of Persia. All right, that's how much time Chronicle takes up. And we talking about world leaders that really you gonna read about even when you take your history classes in school. You're gonna find out about the Persian dynasty. Trust me, they ain't gonna mention Nebuchadnezzar too much in history. But they definitely gonna walk you through the Persians, because from Persia, they the ones that's battling with the Greeks. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And the Greeks is it. Like that's the Greek society is still our society. Right. So when you take a history class in school, that's the focal point. When you take American history, meaning when you take history classes in America, it's focused on bringing you back to America. So even when you take a world history class in school, even those of us that been took it, we might didn't know this then, but even though they were talking about European history, it was all leading you back to how you got to America and how it played with America. You know, how, you know, like what interactions, even when they get to after America exists, and you start talking like the French Revolution and all that, it's still based off of, they still basing off of American ideology. Okay, it's still everything, because you got to realize where are you getting your education from in America. That's why you don't have in regular high school, they don't give you Asian literature or Asian history. You understand? Because that ain't got nothing to do with America. Zero. Or African history. They don't give you that in high school either. Why? I'm talking about as a regular course. Why? Because it has nothing to do with European America. It got something to do with us, but they don't care about that. They saying it ain't got nothing to do with European America. All right? So anyway, what verse?
Verse 22.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth have the Lord God of heaven given me. And he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you, all his people?
Okay, so what we're going to learn today as well is that under Babylon, we was kicked out of the land, but under Persia, we get to go back to the land. Because by the time Jesus get there, we in the land. But we ain't in the land by ourselves. The Romans is running the land. Okay? That's why we need their permission. So under Persia, we go back to the land. We're just going to put back to the land. Just so you know. And then we get kicked out the land. And anybody who chooses to look it up for me real quick, you can tell me when the Persian dynasty started, and you can tell me when the Babylonian dynasty started, and we can add that to the chart whenever y'all can give me a number. Meantime, we going back to Jeremiah chapter 25. And the reason I'm saying anybody can do it is because it's just that simple. Anybody can look it up, and on their phone, that's how simple this stuff is, on your phone, and they'll give you a date. The Persian dynasty and the Babylonian dynasty. Those are two dates we're looking for. Meantime, we're going to go back to Jeremiah 25, because in Chronicles, you notice he kept referencing Jeremiah said so. Jeremiah. So we're going to go and go straight to the horse's mouth, as they say. Jeremiah chapter 25. And we're going to start this off at verse 4. And does anybody got a date for the Babylonian or the Persian dynasty? Anybody?
It says declined until 1595 BCE.
Who is this?
It's Google.
No, what died? Does anybody got a date with Babylon ruled? Yeah, just look up Nebuchadnezzar. That's all y'all gotta do. Just look up Nebuchadnezzar. He the first Babylonian that we want. You look up Nebuchadnezzar, it's gonna give you a birth date and it's gonna give you a time that he died. We'll use those as the numbers. So somebody give me a number for that. Meantime, somebody can look up Persia and whatever date they're gonna give you, or you can look up Cyrus from Persia. And they're gonna tell you a date, and them the numbers we're gonna use. It's gonna be that easy. Then we're gonna put Greek in there. I'm trying to get y'all to see how easy this is. It's not that difficult to find out the information. What you got against this? 2300 BC. Okay, so that's the original Babylon. That's the Nimrod Babylon.
I got
So,
626,
there we go.
539.
That's what we're looking for, the 626.
The
So the
years.
626, so let's go back to this. We're gonna put Sister Mildred on there. You said it was 2300 BC? All right, we had put 2000, but it's about the same thing. They're saying 2300 years before Christ is when Nimrod was there. Now, you pulled up, somebody gave me Babylon. Who gave me Babylon? Who gave me Nebuchadnezzar's time? Dave did. All right, what you give me, Dave?
626.
All right, so we can put BC 626. And we know these are roundabout numbers. We just, it's so far away that it's not gonna matter if it's that accurate. And does anybody got a Persian number?
It fell 539 BCE under
Yep.
the Persians.
Yep, you said it fell 539?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So we'll just put 540. Because it's not just Persia, it's the Medes and the Persians. So that's about the time period we are now. So we here at around 326, and then the next dynasty is gonna be around 540. And this is all before Jesus even comes on the scene. 500 years before Jesus come on the scene, 600 years before Jesus come on the scene, okay? And we, in Chronicles, we was in Babylon for a certain time period, and then the Persians gonna take over. But we're gonna understand all that before we done. So right now, we're going back to Babylon, and we're gonna see what the Lord says about Babylon. And so again, I don't want you guys to be confused. It's very good that this happened. When Sister Mildred gave me a number, she Googled Babylon. Babylon's first king we read already is Nimrod. So that was a very accurate number that she gave. But now we understood also that years later, the Chaldeans took over Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar took over Babylon. That is the beginning of the Gentile dynasty. Okay? Now, Jeremiah 25, and let's pick this up at verse 4. And when you get there, go ahead.
And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them. But ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear.
Now this is the word from Jeremiah. If you look at verse 1, the word that came to Jeremiah concerning the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim. So Jehoiakim we saw in Chronicles as one of the last kings of Israel. So Jeremiah is talking to him. And in verse 4 he said, and the Lord has sent unto you all his servants and the prophets. They just kept coming, rising early, sending them to you, but you weren't listening, nor did you incline your ear. Go ahead.
They said, turn ye again now, every one of you, every one from his evil way, and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that the Lord hath given unto you and to your fathers forever and ever. And go not after other gods to serve them, and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt.
Go ahead.
Yet ye have not hearkened unto me, saith the Lord, that ye might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, because ye have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon.
Now remember when we was looking on that map, and we had Egypt. So if you're looking at it, Egypt typically is more to your left. And then as you're looking at your map, that little line, that little coastal area, that's where Jerusalem is. And then as you go up to the right on your maps, that's going to be where Nebuchadnezzar is. That's where Babylon is. When you look at your map of that Middle Eastern area, and like I say, it should be in most of y'all Bibles actually. But he said, notice what he said. What verse was that again? I'm sorry, I got
Verse 9.
He said, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, said the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant. And I like how he called Nebuchadnezzar my servant, because Nebuchadnezzar is doing the work and the bidding that the Lord is saying so. Go ahead, read some more.
And I will bring them against this land.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
against,
land is Israel. He's like, I'm kicking y'all out this land. I'm sick of y'all. Y'all won't keep a Sabbath day here. Go ahead.
and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about. And I will utterly destroy them, and make them astonishment, and a hissing, and a perpetual desolation.
Go ahead.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness.
So he's saying, I'm going to take out of Israel all the happiness. We ain't going to be like this no more. We don't even know we don't even know what true happiness is.
That's right.
Because we have never been able to experience being in our own land with our own king, with our own. Like none of this is ours. When you pay, look, you can own your house that you worked very hard for. And here's the crazy part about it. Forget the taxes. They can say we running a freeway through your house. And you got to give it up. Like that was like you know, the taxes part, we get that. You ain't pay your taxes, you shouldn't have your house, whatever. Which I disagree with still, but I'm saying, forget that. They can run a freeway through your house. And it's gone. So I'm saying this ain't yours. You know what I'm saying? When you buy a car, you put your money into a car, all that, but every year you got to get a tag. Like this ain't yours. And if you don't get a tag, they say you can't drive. You got to pay the taxes and then wait a minute, it's so bad. They say your car can't be beat up. It got to pass emissions. All these rules, these ain't your rules. This ain't your land. You don't get no. Has anybody ever received the like here go a check because you know the taxes was paid throughout the land, so here go your percentage of the taxes. No, like I know you might we tax refund. No, that's your taxes you pay. That's how you overpaid in taxes. What I'm saying is you ain't never got a check that said here go your money back or here go the money because we collect the taxes in your city. On all the goods, so here go your percentage. Right, it ain't yours. You ain't, so again, we don't know what the real mirth, what the real happiness is like, what he talking about here. What verse are we at?
Verse 10.
Go ahead.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the candle.
Go ahead.
And this whole land shall be a desolation.
So he's saying this whole land gonna be desolate. That's what I'm about to do to this land. What else?
And an astonishment.
Yep.
And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
And notice something else. He said that in the nations, that's with an S, shall serve Babylon 70 years. Meaning like all the nations, Babylon gonna rule it. Just like they ruled it 2300 BC when Nimrod was the ruler. Now he's saying Babylon is going to rule the whole world. Go ahead, keep reading.
And it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon.
He said, when the 70 years are done, I will punish the king of Babylon. Now, brothers and sisters, we're not going to get into this lesson today, but the 70 years ain't done.
That's right.
When you go to the book of Daniel, Daniel going to notice, while Daniel is under this kingdom, Persia now, Medo-Persian kingdom. He's going to notice because he started off in the Babylonian kingdom. He's going to be like, yo, I'm still in captivity. 70 years has gone by. What's going on? And the Lord is going to explain to him, oh, yeah, I said 70 years, but, it was really until I come back. And that's what we're going to learn today. We're just not going to get into the details of the 70 years today. Okay, but again, he says, I will destroy them. Read that verse again. What was that? 13, 12?
Verse 12.
Go ahead. Read 12 again.
And it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon, and that nation, saith the Lord, for their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans.
Go ahead.
And will make it a perpetual desolation. And I will bring upon that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah hath prophesied against all the nations.
Go ahead.
For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also. And I will recompense them according to their deeds, and according to the works of their own hand.
Keep reading.
For thus saith the Lord God of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. and they shall drink, and be moved, and be mad, because of the sword that I will send among them.
Go ahead.
Then took I the cup at the Lord's hand, and made all the nations to drink, unto whom the Lord had sent me.
So what he's saying is, he like, yo, the Lord got a cup of wrath that he pouring out on all the nations, is what he's saying by the end of it, starting with Babylon, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into Daniel. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. We're going to begin to try to understand some of these end-time prophecies. And here's the thing about end-time prophecies. Here's the thing about Revelation. You're not going to understand it if you do not have your a grip on Daniel. If you don't know Daniel, you gonna be. So when you see brothers trying to tell you Revelations 13 is America, I heard somebody say that before. Man, you don't know. America ain't even in Daniel. What you talking about? Like, you gotta have understanding of the books of Daniel and Jeremiah in order to understand the prophecies in Revelation. So that's what we're gonna do today, and it's not gonna be hard or difficult. That I promise you. It's gonna be easy because we're gonna make it easy today. So we're gonna start this off. Daniel, chapter 2. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna get straight into the dream. I don't even think Daniel had the dream. If I'm not mistaken, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Nebuchadnezzar dirty too. He don't want to tell nobody the dream, but he want to know what the dream means. Not only is Nebuchadnezzar dirty like that, but he said, and if y'all wise men don't tell me, I'm going to kill all y'all. So Daniel hear about it. You know what I mean? Like, Daniel just chilling. He ain't been worried. He don't care about Nebuchadnezzar's dream. But he heard about it, and he is considered one of the wise men. So he like, well, hold on, let me go ahead and deal with this situation. Daniel talking. I don't determine, I don't know dreams like that, but my God do. So I'm going to go holler at my God and see if we can't come back with the interpretation of your dream. All right? So, Daniel chapter 2, and what do we say on paper, though? 29. Let's start at 24. We'll start Daniel 9 and 24. When you get there, go ahead.
Therefore Daniel went unto a rock, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I shall show the king the interpretation.
Go ahead.
And Iraq brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captains of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar.
That was his. Belteshazzar was Daniel's government name. We'll say that. His name was Daniel. Just like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they had government names. But go ahead.
Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king have demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, and the soothsayers show unto the king? But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the later days. So
notice what he's telling them. He's going to let Nebuchadnezzar know what should be in the latter days. So he's about to start interpreting and breaking down his dream for him. Go ahead.
Thy dream and thy visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thine mind.
And if you want a visual of this, I'm going to draw it a little bit. But look, man, I'm thinking about drawing a stick figure. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to be no Leonardo da Vinci up here. But at the end of the day, if you Google Daniel chapter 2, this is how sweet this is. You'll see the same picture that Brother Bowie, who wrote a book called The Four Winds of Heaven, is using in his book. You know what I'm saying? So it's an accurate picture. All the pictures that we gonna draw, or that all the visuals that we look at, every visual that we see today, it's already been drawn out, and you can literally Google Revelation chapter 13 and 1, Daniel chapter 8 verse 7. Like, you can literally do these things, and you'll see what I'm not about to try to draw, but that's what you'll see. Okay? So go ahead. We're about to start looking at this. I'm doing it up here so that we can still make sure we're getting a visual. Because I feel like a visual is going to help us comprehend what it is that we're reading. Because black and white paper, sometimes you can't see what it is. Like me, I can see it all. Like clearly, I can see the whole world on the map without having the map up. You know what I mean? But everybody doesn't have that ability to do so. So, hey, I'll draw it out best I can. Maybe we can get it, maybe we can get a new, add some stuff to our memoir and our brain. So what verse are we at? And we can go ahead and read it.
Verse 29. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed. What should come to pass hereafter?
Right, so he's saying this is what's going to happen after you. Go ahead.
And he that revealeth
And after. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
and he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king.
Go ahead.
And that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold.
Right, so he said that this image that he saw had a head of gold. And I'm just going to tell you, right now, when we're looking at the dream is the dynasty of the Gentile dynasty. Okay? So this gold head is Babylon. Don't worry, we'll get more information to make sure that's good. So that's what that is, the gold head. Go ahead.
His breast and his arms of silver.
So he had breast and arms. You know what I'm saying? He was like, this is silver. So this would all be silver up in here. And this would represent the Medo-Persian. Now you like, JD, you just telling me this. You ain't proven none of this yet. Don't worry, but when I say don't worry. We're going to get enough information that we are going to prove it. Right now, I'm just trying to let you see what you read. Plus, as we read through, it's going to name some of these nations. Like we're going to get the Bible's going to actually name Medo-Persian. And it's going to actually name the next one, which is the Greeks. Now, again, it doesn't matter, because if you look up history, you're going to be able to see that the world rulers went from Babylon to the Medes to the Persians, to the Greeks, to the Romans. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how much of this that we're really trying to prove, you can go and prove it on your own. That's the point that I'm getting at, okay? But again, we're gonna work with what the scriptures are saying so we can begin to understand everything that's written in the Bible. So he said he had breast and arms of silver. Go ahead.
His belly and his thighs of brass. His legs of iron.
So he had a belly and thighs of brass. That's this little area here. And then he said he had legs of what?
His legs of iron. His feet part iron and part of clay.
All right. Then he's going to have 10 toes and they part iron and then part clay. So you got iron and clay. All right. So this is what he saw. You know, he is, but you know what I mean? Y'all get the picture, I hope. But the brass here would actually be the Greek dynasty. And then this would be the Roman dynasty. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to just tell you right now, like I said, let the cat out the bag. Rome ruling right now. We're going to understand that before it's done. The reason he got these toes as iron and clay, because Rome going to be weak and strong. Meaning, right now, Rome is the ruler, but it's weak and strong. You got weak nations, strong nations. Okay? So that's why, and we're going to see that, because we're going to see at the end, keep reading, we're going to read through it. But this is kind of what Daniel 2 is, and then we're going to put one more thing up here before we're done. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 34.
Thank you.
Thou sawest till that stone was cut out without hands.
All right, so let me see. He said his legs, verse 33, was iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. You saw this image till this image was cut without hands. Go ahead.
Which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them in pieces.
So look, the image got smoked down here at the iron and the clay at the feet. And it break the whole image. It's a dream. So it's like you got a dream, you got gold head, silver breastplate, brass pants on, whatever, legs iron and clay. You know what I'm saying? Then you looking at the image and a stone gonna go and break this image. All right, it's gonna hit it, bang, and it's gonna break the image. The whole image is gonna be destroyed. This is what he's looking at, by a stone. All right, go ahead, keep reading.
Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth.
Right, so this stone that breaks it is really Jesus, y'all. Jesus is going to be the one. This is the first time we're doing this today. Jesus is going to be the one to destroy this dynasty. Amen. All right? So this stone, which we already know Jesus is the rock, you know what I mean, is going to be the one that breaks it. This is how we understand that we're still inside this body somewhere. This body can be another timeline. You understand? The same one as we was working on before, where what we said, 600 something was Babylon, 500 something was the Medes and the Persians. The Greeks is like 300. Well, and then the Rome will say it's around the time of Jesus. That's what we'll do for now. Okay, but we seeing that this whole image ain't gonna be destroyed until Jesus destroyed it. Okay, it's important to know that because that is how we're going to understand Revelation chapter 13. That is how we're going to understand Revelation chapter 16. By understanding who destroys these images and beasts and all of that. That's how we're going to link it all together to know we know what we're talking about. All right? We always going to take it to the end to see, well, how did this particular beast fall? Or how did this animal fall? Or whatever the case is. And we're going to always see, when we get to Daniel chapter 7, we're going to see the Ancient of Days destroyed. You know what I mean? So that's how this works, and that's why I say this is gonna be easy. Because at the end, regardless of how sorry my artwork is, at the end we're gonna always be Jesus or Ancient of Days or the stone. He always gonna be the destroyer. So everything above it is whatever we find out in history. All right, what verse are we at, bro?
Verse 36.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art the king of kings.
So he talking to Nebuchadnezzar. He like, yo, you the king of kings. You the head of gold. Go ahead.
For the God of heaven have given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory.
And again, everything like we're still under Babylon. I told this story a couple weeks ago when I was in North Carolina, whenever that was. There's a book that I may have shared with some of y'all called God's Trombone, written by James Weldon Johnson, one of our great Afro-American poets. The book is about 7 or 8 different sermons, old sermons, you know, like sermons before we could really read and write sermons, late 1800s types. And these preachers would really do it. And so my great-grandmother, when I was a kid, she would learn some of these sermons, and we would get together at our reunions or whatever, and she would tell the stories. Like one of them was the creation. And, you know, it's so wrong and backwards that in the creation, it took you all the way to Moses. You know what I'm saying? But it was cool. Like, it was a great story. It was real entertaining. One was the prodigal son. That was one of them. You can look this book up. I own it. If you remind me of something, I'll bring it one day. You can check it out. It's cool. That's what I say. It's cool poetry. But one of them is the prodigal son. And when you read this particular story in the prodigal son, this story says the son that left, that he had went out into Babylon. Now see, it's funny because in the Bible it don't say that nowhere. But my whole life, that's what I thought the Bible was saying, that, you know, the prodigal son went down into Babylon. My point in bringing that story up is that we know, and we talk about even to this day, being in Babylon. That this is Babylon. This is that system. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, the Bible is showing us that everything is up under Babylon first. All right? Like, that's the power. That's the head of gold. If you notice, when you come down the statue, it goes from gold to silver, which is less valuable, to brass, which is less valuable, to iron. Okay? But also, something else I'm going to tell you about that. The hardest of the materials is down here, and the softest is up here. Just something. The Lord know what the difference in hard and soft materials. Like he You know what I'm saying? That ain't no coincidence. Because again, we're gonna see that but then notice that iron was mixed with clay. So it's like, yo, it's hard down here and it's soft down here. But we'll get there later. Just try to help us really understand some of the things that we're reading and why. All right, what verse are we at?
Verse 38.
All right, go ahead.
And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven have he given into thine hand.
He talking to Nebuchadnezzar. He like, the Lord and gave it all to you, man. Go ahead.
And have made thee ruler over them all.
Uh-huh.
Thou art this head of gold.
Right, so he telling them, you the head of gold. You the ruler over everything. Nebuchadnezzar. Babylon. Go ahead.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee.
Uh-huh.
And another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
So notice, each one of these kingdoms are going to bear rule over the whole earth. And when we talk like that, they do bear rule over the whole earth. But we'll understand that more as we get into our next, when we go to Daniel chapter 7. But go ahead.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
Uh-huh.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Uh-huh.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay.
Notice how I said the strength of iron. That's what I'm saying. The Lord knew when he was giving his vision, he knew that the gold is the softest and the most precious. And he knew that the iron, like he was making a statement. Then he said, even all the way down to putting the iron with the clay. He's like, look, it's going to be hard and it's going to be soft when you get, because clay's softer than all of them.
Yep.
So he was like, it's going to be hard and it's going to be soft. Go ahead. That's where we at now. We in that iron mixed with clay time period. We at the bottom. But go ahead.
42.
Uh-huh.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Uh-huh.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Go ahead.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
So notice what he said. In the days of these final kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. So when you look at that statue, when we get to that bottom one, in the days of those kings is when God will return. Go ahead, keep reading.
Which shall never be destroyed.
Uh-huh.
And the kingdom shall not be left to the other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Right, so he's saying, like, at the end of the day, he's like, look, this is what's going to happen hereafter. This is what we own, okay? Now, let's go over to Daniel chapter 7 now. Daniel chapter 7. You got to love the kids, boy. They ain't got no filter, no nothing. They don't care what's on their mind. It's coming out, boy. Daniel chapter 7, pick it up at verse 1 and 2.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon.
So under Daniel chapter 7, we still under Babylonian rule, but now Nebuchadnezzar done passed, and we done moved on to Belteshazzar, who was either Nebuchadnezzar's son or grandson. I don't really care. It don't really matter. We just know that's a couple of kings. But they ain't have but 3 kings. So, I mean, when I say that, history say they ain't have but 3 kings. Now, you know, as time progressed, before Nebuchadnezzar got there, like, you know, Babylon wasn't the Babylon the Great that we know about. That's all. Go ahead.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision of his head upon his bed.
Go ahead.
Then he wrote the dream and told the summer of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another.
Okay, so And we coming back here, you can hold your spot here, but we're going to go to Revelation chapter 13, because I want to prepare you for what we're doing now. And what we're doing is we're trying to set the stage to us to understand Revelation. Because the title of the lesson is End Time Prophecy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. And Revelation speaks of end time prophecy. So I'm trying to allow us to, I'm setting the stage for us to get it. Now, when we start talking end time prophecy, Revelation chapter 13 is vital to us understanding the end. Revelation chapter 13 is going to start off a certain way. And it's going to really refer us back to this Daniel chapter 7. So I'm going to let you look at the way it starts off so that you can see how we're going to go back to Daniel 7 and pull this dynasty out of here that we're going to later place in Revelation chapter 13. Okay, if that makes sense. So we're going to Daniel 7 so that we can put the appropriate player in the puzzle of Revelation 13. So we're going to look at Revelation 13, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we read it. So start at verse 1 and 2 and 3. We'll read them verses.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So this right here that we're looking at, this beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, we're going to more understand this beast when we go back to Daniel chapter 7. Go ahead.
And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Yep.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear,
Yeah.
and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Yeah.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat,
What else?
and great authority.
Yeah.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death,
Yep.
and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast.
So we'll get back to this particular beast after we're in Daniel 7. But what I'm telling you is Daniel 7 is going to set the stage for us comprehending this particular beast. So let's go back to Daniel 7 now. So that's why we're here in this Daniel 7. And Daniel 7 is going to tell you everything that Daniel 2 told, but it's really going to set the stage for Revelation 13. For us to get that, for us to understand, get to that part and understand that part. So Daniel chapter 7, and we can start it back at verse 1, and let's learn some stuff here. Daniel chapter 7 and 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision of his head upon his bed. And then he wrote the dream and told the summer of the matters.
Yep.
Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea.
Go ahead.
And 4 great beasts came up from the sea.
So he's looking at it, and he's going to see, in the sea, he's going to see 4 beasts coming out the sea. Go ahead.
Diverse one from another.
Each beast did not look the same. Again, I know I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to draw. Y'all going to laugh at my drawing. It's okay. But you really can look on your phones and you will get to see each beast. Like whatever chapter and verse it is, if you were to Google Daniel 7 and verse 5 or 6, whatever verse is going to describe the first beast. If you actually Google that, you'll see a much better picture than what I'm going to draw. But go ahead.
Verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
All right, so I'm not going to draw that. So look, we're going to have a lion here, and he's going to have eagle's wings. All right, mercy, yeah. We're going to have eagle's wings, you know what I mean? It's your lion. Me no lion, right? More importantly, we're going to put the lion up here, though. I know, right? Y'all laugh, gotta give him his little tail. All right, so we got the lion. Look at me. I can draw better than that, but I ain't trying to make it that good. So, but we got the lion up there, and he got eagle's wings. So that's something else we want to make sure we put on there. He got eagle's wings. Go ahead.
And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
And then the wings got plucked up. That's what he's going to tell you. Go ahead.
And it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast.
So now the first beast we saw was a lion, and he had eagle's wings. Now we get another beast. What's that next beast?
A second, like to a bear.
All right, so now we got a big old grizzly bear. Go ahead.
and it raised up itself on one side.
Yeah.
And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it,
So he had 3 ribs in his mouth. Go ahead.
between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
Right, so you got the next one was a bear, and he had 3 ribs in his mouth, and he was supposed to devour and destroy much flesh. Now, the most important of the beasts that we're going to look at are the next 2. Now, when I say the most important, because like the lion with eagle's wings and the bear, we're going to see them, but we ain't going to see too much more about them when we get back to Revelation. But it's going to be the next 2 that we really need to pay attention to. So go ahead.
Verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
Right.
The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
All right, so now you got a leopard. Hey, read him again. Lord have mercy.
After this
How we gonna draw that?
After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
So he got 4 wings and he got 4 heads. This was a leopard, though. All right, go ahead.
After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast,
Yeah.
dreadful and terrible.
So the next beast is just dreadful and terrible. Depictions of it, a dinosaur. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's, I don't know what Daniel seen. It was just a horrid-looking beast. Okay? Huh?
Couldn't just really describe.
Yeah, so dreadful and terrible. That's all we're going to write right here. A dreadful and terrible beast. Go ahead.
And strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth.
But it had iron teeth. Now notice something. We had iron toes the last time. This time my man got iron teeth. What else?
It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
Yeah.
And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it.
Right.
And it had 10 horns.
Now, this beast had 10 horns, though. Go ahead.
And I considered the horns. And behold, there came up among them another little horn.
And out of these 10 horns that this beast had, a little horn came up from it. So we just go and circle that one. Go ahead.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up.
And he gonna pluck out 3 others. That's gonna leave a total of 7 horns. All right, so it started with 10 horns, but it's gonna end up 7 horns, because that little horn plucked up some. So the 7 horns, we're gonna see all this again later. That's why we drawing it, but really we're gonna see it again later. Go ahead.
And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Right.
And I beheld till the thrones were cast down.
So he said, I kept looking at it until the thrones were cast down. Go ahead.
And the Ancient of Days did sit.
So basically what he's saying, excuse me, bro. Well, basically what he said, I'm sorry. Basically what he's saying is he saw it until the Ancient of Days was there. So he's looking at kingdoms here, and he like, when this was here, he saw this great, dreadful, and terrible one until the Ancient of Days came about. When the Ancient of Days came, that's what destroyed that kingdom. Oh, you like trying to blackmail me or something? Oh, okay. Now go ahead, keep reading.
And I beheld till the thrones were cast down.
Verse 9, that's where we at.
And the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him.
Right.
Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame.
So a couple things he's telling you here. He said, I kept looking until this beast was destroyed. And he said, I saw this little horn talking a whole bunch of trash. That's what he was saying. Like I kept saying, like I looked at it and I saw this little horn, and he just, what did it say again? He said, I beheld, verse 11, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beast, They had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. So what he's saying is, each one of these beasts, they had a dominion, but it wasn't that long. But this one, this dreadful one, he was around to the end, to the Ancient of Days. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
And I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him.
Uh-huh.
And there was given him dominion and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Uh-huh. So again, we see until, like you said, it was giving him a dominion. Like, we're looking at all this until we see an ending. This is the common theme that we're going to look at each time, is that the ending is ended by the same person. Last time it was the stone, now it's the Ancient of Days. Go ahead.
I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled
Yeah,
me.
he woke up out that dream tripping, like, man, what am I looking at? Like, what the heck did I just see? Because you would be too. That dreadful and terrible one would just have you stuck anyway. Everything else you can identify, even though we just seen a leopard with 4 wings and all. Yeah, we seen all that. We can identify with that. It's a dream. But that last one, he like, yo, man, what is this? So he wake up like, man, I'm tripping, man. Go ahead.
I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this.
Yeah.
So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the thing.
Uh-huh.
These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever and ever, even forever and ever.
Go ahead.
Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass.
So these all the same thing we've been looking at, though. So again, this lion is representing Babylon. This bear, Medo-Persian, because they rule together. Medo-Persian. Here's the crazy thing about it. Like the bear today is represented by Russia, and really that's where the Medo-Persian is. That's where the Medo-Persian Empire come from or went to at the end of the day. They one and the same. So there you go. Now this leopard had 4 wings, right? That's the Greeks. But now the Greeks had one ruler, or he had 4 heads, I'm sorry. And he had one ruler, Alexander the Great. But Alexander the Great died at a very early age. And his dynasty was turned over to 4 men. And Rome is the last one. The 4 men, that I never remember, so I wrote it down this time, were Cassandra, who actually ruled the lands west in the empire. And that's okay, I ain't gonna do y'all like that. Ptolemy, he ruled the lands south. Seleucus ruled the lands east. And then the last one is Antigonus or something weird. And I don't know about that one, because Lascivious, that's what I thought it was. But he ruled the central part. Yeah, they gave me some old bogus name when I looked it up. I was like, I don't remember hearing that name. Yeah, so the last one is, spell the last one.
Like L-Y something.
Yeah, something weird. Yeah, so that's the last one. But those Greek, when you look up Alexander the Great, he's the great Greek king. When he ruled, if you look on the map, it's an Alexandria in Egypt, there's an Alexandria in India to this day. That's because they was named after King Alexander. He went, conquered, and named all these lands after him. But he died at a very early age, and his kingdom was divided into 4. His 4 generals. And so that's why when you look at the prophecy, because Daniel ain't even in their day yet, you see that, like he already had this one beast here and had 4 heads, because again, that Nebuchadnezzar wasn't going to live long enough in the dynasty. And here's the thing, out of Cassandra is where Rome comes from. So out of those 4, that's why earlier we saw this little horn. Well, no, we didn't get there yet. We'll get there in a minute. That's in Daniel 8. So what verse are we at?
19.
Go ahead.
Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast,
Yep.
which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet.
Go ahead.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before him the 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of the Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High.
So again, we see like, he was ruling until a certain time period, till the Ancient of Days came. Okay, which is Jesus. So again, once again, we looking at the same common denominator, that this dynasty is here until the Lord come back. Just like we saw that in Daniel chapter 2. We saw the same thing here. That stone came and destroyed this joint. Just like we're going to see it again in Daniel chapter 8. That's how we know that we on the right path. All right, go ahead.
And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Right, because what we're getting at is out of this last little dynasty, and notice how it's doing out of this last little dynasty, that's where the antichrist is going to come from. And that's he was represented by this little horn. When we looked in Daniel chapter 7, we had those 10 horns, we had a little horn who plucked out the 3 horns. So again, that's where it's walking to, or that's where it's leading to all the time. Go ahead, what verse?
Verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
Right, this one little individual, this little horn, he gonna think to change times and laws. What verse?
Still on 25.
All right, go ahead.
And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much trouble me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart.
So after he saw this, he was just like, dang, like you would be too. Because you ain't even there. Like when I say you're not there, like you at this time, he's still in Babylon. So he far from the next 3 kingdoms. You know what I'm saying? And so, he's like, I kept the thing in my heart, but that's wild. Like what's gonna happen? That's wild to him. Especially the little horn. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get to him some more. So now we're gonna go into Daniel 8. And in Daniel 8, we're going to actually pull some names. So I want you to understand that Belshazzar, in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar, is under the Babylonian dynasty. But in this chapter, we're going to take it all the way to the Medes, the Persians, and the Greeks. Actually, we're going to take it further than that. But what I'm getting at is, this would be prophecy when it was written. Even though it's happened already for us, it was written prophecy that Daniel gonna tell, all right? And then it's gonna take you all the way, once again, to us. And we're doing all of this so that when we get to Revelation chapter 13 and chapter, here, let me tell you where this all started. This is where this all started. When Satan goes to the lake of fire, it's gonna be 2 people in the lake of fire, the beast and the false prophet.
Right.
That's where this all started. We are building the case for who the beast and the false prophet are. That's all we're doing. We're going through time, we're going through history, understanding everybody's role, that everybody's playing, and at the end of the day, we're going to take it to the end. So we're in Daniel now, we're going to do chapter 8. Chapter 8 is going to really put the Medes, the Persians on the map, as well as the Antichrist. It's going to put him on the map. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Revelation, put it all together, then we're going to finish it really back in Daniel 11 as we tell the story with the Antichrist in it. So it's real simple what we're doing. We're just talking about what done happened and what's going to happen in prophecy. So Daniel chapter 8, and I'm trying to make it easy. So like when I say I'm trying to make it easy, it should be, don't complicate it for yourself. It should be easy as it sounds. Everything that we looked at so far is just showing you Babylon to the Medes and the Persians, to the Greeks, to Rome. The part that might get complicated is Rome still here today. But we're gonna clear that up real easy. So it's not really this shouldn't be a hard lesson. And if you don't get it the first time around, just go watch the lesson again. Like it's like that. Maybe it's more like a movie. Like you might miss something and you gotta go back and catch it again. But this information won't change. That same lesson I'm doing today is the same thing, brother Danny done did, brother Bowie done did, brother a lot. You get what I'm saying? There's no variance to it, is what I'm saying. I'm just doing it my way. You know what I'm saying? Trying to help us get it, because I'm doing the teaching today. But what I'm saying is it's not a difficult task to understand this. And I keep saying that because I want you to think that way so that you're able to grasp it. I don't want you to think this is difficult. All right? Daniel chapter 8, pick it up at verse 1.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar,
Uh-huh.
a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel.
Go ahead.
After that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision. And it came to pass, when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai.
Right.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river of Ram, which had 2 horns.
So now, in the next, he saw a ram that had 2 horns. So this ram that he's looking at that got 2 horns really is the Medo-Persians. That's really what it is. But go ahead.
And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other.
So he said the 2 horns was high, but he like one horn was higher than the other because there's 2 kingdoms, the Medo-Persian kingdom and it was the Medo kingdom and the Persian kingdom are really 2 different kingdoms, but they really ruled in the same land. It was like it went from the Medes to the Persians. Okay? So the Persians, though, was more like the dominant player. Okay? So that's why I got 2 horns. All right? So they represent. But he's going to tell some of this story anyway as he continue to read. But go ahead.
And the higher came up last.
That's why we know it's the Medo-Persian, and the Persian is the higher because it came up last. Go ahead.
I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand.
So when the Medo-Persians ruled, they kicked everybody's butt until somebody else came along. Go ahead.
But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
Right, so really I should put him over there, but that's okay. The he-goat came from the west. All right, go ahead.
And touched not the ground.
And when he came, he didn't touch the ground. Now this he-goat is really Greece. And when Greece came, they beat everybody so bad, it was like, Alexander the Great came through and conquered the world so quick. Like, it was like people's heads were spinning. And then he did it so masterfully, where he didn't just come in and kill everybody. He came in, let you keep your culture, grabbed a couple of soldiers, married your king's daughter. You see what I'm saying? He did things like that, said, oh, this is going to be called Alexander. And let you live. You was happy for that. You was like, oh, we get to keep living. Matter of fact, we get to stay here. We ain't got, we just got to send some soldiers, pay some taxes. All right, cool, we'll do that. So he come through this, he gonna come through, he don't even touch the ground. Go ahead.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns,
right,
which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with color against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns.
Right.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
Right. So look, the he-goat, that's Greeks. And I put it on the right side too. Because the reality is when you look on the map, man, don't be laughing at my heart. But look, when you look at the map though, the Greeks come from the west. And the Medo-Persian Empire, we're gonna put MP, came, they ruled the lands eastward, okay? So they come and they just book everything until they take over. So Rick, what verse are you at?
Verse 7.
All right, so start verse 7 again.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with color against him.
So this is an atlas, big old world atlas, right? So Greece is over here. Crete, Sicily, that's over there by Rome. Greece is one of these little islands too. I don't know why I can't see it right now. I see Crete though. But at any rate, the Greeks come from over here, and then this is where the Medo-Persians was. Babylon is up here again. So like he come this way, and then not only do he come that way, but I'm gonna show you one more thing before I walk around. Hopefully we can get to see it in this atlas, which is all these nations is called, like all these Alexandrias that exist. But go ahead, keep reading while I look for a whole joint. Go ahead.
And smote the ram and brake his two horns.
Uh-huh.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground.
All right, that's good. Okay, so look, here go a world map. And so what we got going on is the Higo is coming from over here. And Turkey and Iran and all this, this would have been the Medo-Persian Empire. So what's happening is, they go Egypt again. And so we get our, that's our landmark. So we way over, we don't even count. We over there, we don't count. So this is where Jerusalem would be. So basically, he comes, Alexander the Great comes, and he rules everything up till we get to China, down into India. So like you can even see, I'm trying to see if it's even on this map, but this city's called Alexandria. Like even if you look, like, I'll let your eyes good. You see this Egypt right there? What does that say right there? Right, and they got that going all the way throughout the region. Really, if you get a map that's showing it well enough. And again, I'm just showing you what we're reading and why the Higo is coming from the west and is beating up on the ram coming from the east. Because that's Alexandria the Great. He's coming this way as he's destroying the nation that ruled over here. All right, so let's go ahead, keep reading. So that's this something, like I said, you can. All this stuff you can Google on your own. You don't necessarily need me to show it to you like that. I'm just trying to show it to you so that you can see it. And actually, I probably had a better map right there. But go ahead though. What verse?
Verse 7.
Uh-huh.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and brake the two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
Uh-huh.
But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Go ahead.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones.
Okay, so now, when this Higo had won, he beat up the Medo-Persians. Beat them bad. Then when he win, he was like, basically, he got discombobulated into 4 pieces, into the 4 generals. Go ahead, keep reading.
And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
And when they say they came toward the 4 winds of heaven, meaning they ruled everything. Like they ruled all of Alexander the Great's kingdom, and they ruled the Medo-Persian kingdom. They ruled it all. Go ahead.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
And then he said, and out of one of these, so he got split into 4. So let me write these down so we can have them up here. So he gets split into 4. And out of one of these comes this little horn. So this right here, he gets split into 4. It's Cassander. And then it's Ptolemy. And Seleucus. And what was the other one, y'all?
Lysimachus.
Spell it.
Lysimachus. C-H-U-S.
That's good. All right, and I'm gonna put up here, Cassandra had the west side, which includes Rome.
Right.
Ptolemy had the south side.
That's Turkey.
No, that shouldn't be. South should be the lands with Egypt on it.
Oh, that's, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's Lucas.
All right, just make it, yep. So Lucas, he had the east side.
Yeah, that's Iraq.
That's Iraq, Iran, that's Turkey. And then central was like, which would have been us, which would have still been us. Jerusalem would have been whatever that is. Jeru, that's the only one I know how to spell it. We just messed that up. All right, so look. So this Hebraic, which is Greek, was broken down to these 4 generals here. Okay? What I did is wrote the landmass or what they pretty much ruled. So Cassandra ruled what we know as Rome or and Italy, right? So what verse were we at? And read that verse again, because we had a little goat that came, a little horn that came out of all of this.
Verse 9.
Yup.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn,
So out of this one came that little horn.
which waxed exceedingly great toward the south and toward the east.
So he came and beat up the south, Ptolemy, and he beat up the east, Seleucus. Go ahead.
And toward the pleasant land.
And toward this guy's land, the pleasant land. He had Jerusalem. How do you say his name? Anybody know how to say his name? It's like
Lysimachus.
yeah, but look, the L dude, right? You know what I'm saying? So he had Jerusalem. So that's what you're reading right now. He said he went against the south, the east, and the pleasant land. This one did. This Cassandra's little horn guy. Go ahead.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Right, and it's saying that this little horn, he got so cold that pretty much nothing on earth could stop, even to the host of heaven. Go ahead.
And it came, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars of the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host.
Yeah.
And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Look, this the guy that's gonna take. So look, we ran all the way from the Greek dynasty, 300. The daily sacrifice gonna be taken away. That's what this is. This ain't even happened yet. So that's how far. But keep reading. That's how far it ran. But it's gonna run it all the way to the Lord come back. Go ahead.
And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression.
Go ahead.
And it cast down the truth of the ground, the truth to the ground.
Yep.
And it practiced and prophesied. Prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto the certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice?
We're going to skip that. We don't have to read that. Let's skip to verse 15.
And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning. Then, behold, there stood before me as the appearing of a man.
So he was trying to get some understanding on everything we just looked at. So he was like, well, here go a man. This man is an angel, Gabriel. Gabriel is the angel that be bringing understanding. Go ahead.
And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. And when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision.
See, so he said, understand, because the time of the end is what this vision is about. The end. Let's not misinterpret that. The end mean the end. Because some people are trying to act like the end is some other, like some people going to read this and they're going to be like, yeah, see, this happened in 70 AD, this happened in, during Antioch Epiphanes, all that. Man, he said, take this to the end. Keep going, though.
Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and sat me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be.
Go ahead, verse 20.
The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns.
So look, the ram that you saw, so y'all know I wasn't making up that, was what?
Are the kings of Media and Persia.
Right, that's the Medo-Persian Empire, was that ram that we saw in this particular chapter. So the Medo-Persians hadn't even existed yet as a empire, but yet this is the prophecy. But go ahead.
And the rough gold is the king of Garcia.
Oh,
Garcia.
the Greeks. So Grecians. So he's saying that we go with the Grecians. Now you can go and Google easily Alexander the Great four generals in pain, you'll find them. Then notice how before we read it, I had even showed you where they got south, east, I was like Jerusalem, and west. Then we seen one little horn come out, and he had ruled the south, the east. Basically, he took over. But this is Rome that took over from the Medo-Persian Empire. This is all revealed to us in this particular chapter. Like I say, sometimes you might have to watch it again. You know, you might have to go back and read it all again. But we covered all this. So, you know, this might be one of them lessons you watch 2-3 times, but you'll get it. Don't worry. It's not going to change. It's not going to change up on you. All you can do is add to it. Well, if you don't get that thing on my face like that. Go ahead. Keep reading.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Uh-huh.
Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation.
See what he's saying? So 4 kingdoms will stand up out of the nation. Go ahead.
But not in his power.
Right, but not in the power of that last dude. That's like, meaning when they split up at first, it's just this. Then the little horn comes in after. That's what he said, not in his power. Go ahead.
And in the latter time of their kingdom.
Notice what it say, in the latter time of their kingdom. That's at the end again. Go ahead.
When the transgressions are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences
That's your antichrist.
shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
Yep.
He shall also stand up against the princes of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Notice though, he said he gonna stand up against the prince of princes, but he gonna be broken without hand. Again, once again, we're showing how we identify that this is all the same topic. We taking it to the end. Jesus, the prince of princes, he gonna kick his butt without hands. And we're gonna see that. That's in Revelation 19. All right, now let's go over to, we should be done with Daniel for now. So let's go to Matthew 24 real quick. We taking it to the end now. Technically, y'all, we almost done. Because that's it. Like once we do this, now we go to Revelation, we just filling in the blank. That's all Revelation is, fill in the blank. Fill in the blank from the Old Testament. But if you don't understand the Old Testament, look, everything we're going to read once we get to Revelation, we've already discussed. So, that's what we've already talked about in Daniel. Okay, so Matthew 24. Matthew 24, and let's pick this up at verse 1, but we're not going to read all of this. We're going to jump through it. Matthew 24 and verse 1.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, his disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?
So right now what he's looking at is, he's saying, look, this temple that they was there is going to be destroyed. Now, right now, we in Jesus Christ's day, so we passed all these dynasties. So we're going to come back up here, and we're going to go back to this one. We passed all these dynasties now. And we in Rome now. Rome ruling now. So we done passed all these dynasties while Jesus is on the scene. And Jesus is there during this time period. So we done had the Persians, the Babylonians. Then we done picked up the Greeks when we read Daniel chapter 8. So we picked up the Greeks. And I'm just going to put 300. Because I think it's around 3-something. Alexander the Great, I think he died like that in 332 BC or something weird like that. So we just going to put the Greeks right here. And then we're going to put, this all before Christ, so we're going to put 100 in Rome. All right? So now Jesus is here. All this is BC. All that's before Christ. And this is going, like 33, like 2020, like 2,000 years ago, okay? So we just say like, dang, that's the divide, okay? So this Rome gonna rule all the way 2022 and on. This Rome gonna rule all the way down. That's what we about to start seeing, sure. But we've been seeing it though. That was that great and terrible beast. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still gonna rule, but we're gonna understand it more as we hit this revelation. But the first thing we're doing is we setting the stage for it. So when you look at Matthew 24, this is during the Roman time period, the beginning of their time period. And he's saying, look, verse 3 says, tell us when should these things be? What should be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? So we can just skip right over to verse 13. Because we're looking at what's the end of the world. We're going to skip right over to verse 13. When you get there, go ahead.
But he that shall endure unto the end.
Is there some kind of way you can get that junk off of there, Nashan? The junk that's on the live stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that off of there, man. Yeah, man. So that it doesn't appear if it's possible. Thank you. All right, thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Uh-huh.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
Now watch verse 15.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
So a couple of things I want you to notice. Notice how, first of all, it said the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. So we had to be in Daniel to even understand the abomination of desolation, which in all actuality, we touched him, but I didn't even pull him out like that. We're going to get him when we get to chapter 11. We touched him in Daniel chapter 8, but we're not going to pull him out the way Jesus is talking until we get to Daniel chapter 11, okay? But he said, when you do see the abomination of desolation, in the end, that's the last king of that Roman Empire, skip down to verse 21.
For then shall be great tribulation.
So this abomination of desolation, this little horn that we saw, and if you remember, we was reading about the little horn. It was like he was stamping down, and he was an evil dude, battling the saints. We're gonna see more. You know, like we saw him. We said something about he stamped down the stars, and everything we saw. It was destruction coming from this particular one at the end of every dynasty that we saw. Okay, that's that abomination of desolation. So it wasn't just spoken of by Daniel the prophet one time. Daniel kept talking about it. Every time he took the dynasties to the end, he would bring them up because obviously he would see them. So at any rate, when you see this, he said, then you're going to have great tribulation. Then let's jump down to verse 29.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
Yep.
And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken.
Go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Yes.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So the way the end time events take place is you're going to have this abomination of desolation, which is going to lead you to the great tribulation. And immediately after the great tribulation, no rapture, nothing weird like that. What you're going to have now is the Lord coming back to gather his four winds. And really, we're going to bring them back to Jerusalem, which is where we started today's lesson, getting kicked out of Jerusalem because we didn't keep the Sabbath. So ultimately, the Lord is like, nah, y'all going home one way or the other. All right? Now, Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13. So we did all that, Daniel, just so we can understand Revelation 13 better. Real talk. So we can comprehend what it is that we're going to see here. When we start talking about the deadly wound being healed, like, yeah, because we know Rome been failed. But we're going to see more than that, though. We're going to get it, man. We're almost done, but we're going to get it, and hopefully, it's time well spent. Revelation chapter 13, and let's pick this up in verse 1 through 7. When you get there, go ahead and read. Now, this is John. John going to see visions, so he's going to break his visions down. Go ahead.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw the beast rise out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns.
Now notice something. It said he had 7 heads. It was a beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns. We've been seeing that. We've been seeing that. Let's see. We got 7 heads here. Yep, we had 7 heads here. Well, actually, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heads. How many crowns was it?
10.
10 crowns. We got that somewhere in here too. We got it all over the place. We got 10 here.
10 toes.
We got the 10. Yeah, I was just about to go back to that. We got the 10 toes here. We see all of that. That's what I'm saying. We did all of that in Daniel, so we can understand that what you're looking at right now is the same thing. It's the Babylonian dynasty. Starting off with Babylon, to the Medes and the Persians, to the Greeks, to Rome. So he said, and I stood at the sands of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns was 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now watch verse 2. Go ahead.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a
He
leopard.
said the beast that he saw was like unto the leopard. You see, there go the leopard. That was representing Greek. Go ahead.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Oh, yeah, the bear's feet. That was the Medo-Persians. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Yeah, the mouth of the lion. That was Babylon. Go ahead.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat.
Well, we didn't bring this dreadful and terrible beast up, but it don't matter. Go ahead. That whole beast was dreadful and terrible, by the way. But go ahead.
And great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death.
So he said, look, this last beast in Revelation 13, he said his head was wounded to death. But this is that beast, the 4 we see here. So what we're getting at is, this beast has been, there is no Medo-Persian Empire today. There is no Babylon today. There is no Greece. I know there's a little country called Greece, but nah, not like, look, they bankrupt over there. They ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? They ain't about to fight nobody. And then Rome, what, the best thing we got going for Rome right now is Vatican. But we'll get back to this. You know what I'm saying? But Rome, the Holy Rome, the Roman Empire, Julius Caesar, 70 AD, when Jesus was there, that Rome is gone. That Rome got beat by the Vandals, the Herulines, and the Ostrogoths. These are barbaric nations, Germanic nations that came in and whooped Rome. And then eventually, them became people like your Vikings and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they eventually became, okay? So, Rome, it said, and I saw one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. So that dynasty had died, but it's coming back. Go ahead, keep reading.
And all the world wondered after the beast.
And everybody gonna look like, yo, what's up with this beast? Go ahead.
And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right, so now it's saying that the dragon, and I know we got 4 different ones, but really this is just one. So the dragon gonna give this beast that power. Satan is. Gonna give Rome the power. Go ahead.
And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things.
And again, it always go back to the individual. Because it's an individual in there that's going to have a mouth that's going to speak great things. What verse are we at?
Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
That's good. Let's jump down to verse 11, because we're going to see it's an individual that comes from this empire, this dynasty. We're going to collect it. I probably should have put this part after the 17, but it don't matter. Go ahead.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Jesus the Lamb, he said he had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spake as the dragon, because Satan is going to give this guy his power. Go ahead.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast.
So this guy has the authority from the first beast in this chapter. He has the authority of Rome. He has the authority of this old Babylon. That's what it's called. We're going to see that again. He has the authority to make all the decisions. Go ahead.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven.
So you got this guy, he gonna have magical powers, for real. He gonna be making fire come down out the sky. And it's like, yo, that sounds crazy to me, but if the Bible says so, then I'm gonna believe it. You know what I mean? Like when I say it sounds crazy, because we don't see that. But then maybe we do see it. Maybe when you look at television, you know what I'm saying? Like you see it happening, but we're accustomed to seeing it. So therefore, when it does happen, maybe we'll just be accustomed to seeing it, and the world will wonder after that beast. Because I ain't never seen nobody do nothing like that, make fire come out of the sky.
Magic house, man.
Yeah, but go ahead, keep reading.
So that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live.
Go ahead.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
So they're going to make an image, just like if we would have been back in Daniel, they had an image there that you had to bow down to. Go ahead.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
Go ahead.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he had that mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Yeah.
Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Right, so that's the Antichrist. And we're not going to get into a whole lot of that today. As a matter of fact, I was going to scratch Revelation 6 because that's talking about him. Let's go to Revelation 6. That'll be the degree that we talk about this Antichrist today. How about that? So from this beast, from Rome, is going to come a man, that one particular player that's going to like basically have these powers, gifts, and skills. We're going to see some more of this man here in Revelation chapter 6. Go ahead. Revelation 6 and 1.
And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer.
So he's talking about this Antichrist here. Go ahead.
And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red.
Go ahead.
And power was given to him.
So the first thing is he gonna conquer the whole world, really. Then, or the whole Western world. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him, and he sat there on to take peace from the earth. So you see, he gonna take the peace from the earth. All right, go ahead. And this is all still talking about the same dynasty, but this is that little horn that we saw. This is that beast that we saw in Revelation chapter 13 that came from that whole Roman Empire, or from that Babylonian Empire. But go ahead.
And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
So this conqueror, the first seal, who gonna kill, he gonna have a sword and he gonna kill, he gonna take peace from the earth. He also gonna control the money. That's why we was in Revelation 13. It was like he gonna have a mark that you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell unless you have this particular mark. So this man, that little goat that we saw that the Ancient of Days took away, that's the Antichrist. He gonna have all these abilities. He gonna control the money. He gonna take peace from the earth. He gonna conquer. What else? Verse 7.
And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth.
Right, and so he gonna bring this death upon the earth. That's what he gonna bring with him when he comes. That little horn that we saw in Daniel. Let's go pick it up some more. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17. No, 16. Yeah, 17. Revelation 17. So now we're about to put it all together. So by the time we done with this, in Daniel 11, after that, we really done, and we talking about the rest of the scriptures is talking about the same thing, the victory of it all. Like, that's all it's talking about after that. So, like I said, Revelation 17 is going to put it all together, and Daniel 11 is the same thing. And then after that, we're done. So, meaning no more to necessarily learn, no more information to add to the subject. So, let's do this Revelation 17. When you get there, go ahead, bro.
And there came one of the seven angels which had seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
So he's going to explain all this before the chapter over with. But there's a whore. She is the church. That's what this whore is. This is wrong. That's what this whore is. I'm telling you now, but we're going to prove it later. So as we continue this chapter. So it says she sits on many waters. The waters are the people. So this is the whore, the church that sit on all the people. That's why everybody Christian now. Because she sit on all the people. Go ahead.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
The kings done committed fornications with this whore. They celebrate Christmas, Easter, Halloween, New Year's. Meaning the way we determine New Year's is based off what this whore done told us. Go ahead.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Y'all know this be my favorite part of the teaching this lesson, because I get to talk about hoes and y'all don't look at me like a crazy. Because that's what I just said. I thought I would throw that out there. So no, because we're going to really talk about her in a minute. It says, with whom the kings of this earth have committed fornication. So all the kings have been indulging with this woman. The church does. Not the real church, not us. We a church too. We a woman too. That's why the Lord said, I espouse you a chaste virgin of Christ. That's why the Lord said he got a marriage supper coming, like he got a marriage coming. You know what I'm saying? So we the real woman, we not the hoe. The other one is though, the Catholic Church. And all her little whores running around here. The Baptists, the Methodists, the Lutheran, all of that. The Seventh-day Adventists, they come from her too. All that. And the earth has committed fornication with all of that. Based off what we reading now. Go ahead.
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw the woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Notice again how it referred us back to what we've been studying. 7 heads, 10 horns. Just letting you know exactly who it is. It's the same Daniel chapter 7. It's that same dynasty. She just done reared her ugly. Remember, she was dead, but she got brought back to life. We read that in Revelation 13 when we were talking about it. Go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
Them the church colors. Go ahead.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Uh-huh.
And upon her forehead was a name written.
What was that name written?
Mystery.
Right.
Babylon the Great.
Wait a minute. We going all the way back to Babylon. That's what this woman is. This woman is a mystery. She's Babylon the Great. That's why we had to do all that reading in Daniel so we can bring it all the way back here so we can comprehend that this is the same thing from Nebuchadnezzar and when we read in Jeremiah when it said that all the nations was going to serve you. All the way to the end. If you remember, every time we talked about the destruction, we always put it at the end. It was at the end. It was at the end. Right. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, mystery, Babylon the Great. What else is she?
The mother of harlots.
Go ahead.
And abominations of the earth.
Yeah.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Go ahead.
And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel?
He's like, why are you marveling at this? Go ahead.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns.
All right, so now he's going to start talking about the beast first. The woman is the church, but they run hand in hand. The woman is the church. The beast is the dynasty in itself. The woman sits upon the dynasty. The woman sits on Babylon. The woman sits on Rome, but the woman is the church. That's what we're getting at. So he's like, an angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? Why are you tripping? I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried this woman, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that carried this woman got 7 heads and 10 horns. That's Babylon, what we've been studying. Babylon, the Medes and Persians, to the Greeks, to that great and terrible beast, Rome. Go ahead.
The beast that thou sawest was, and is not.
So he said, the beast that you saw, it did exist, but it don't exist no more. You know what I mean? Like all Rome gone. It exists, it is, but he said, the beast that thou sawest was, and is not, but what?
And is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
He said, but that beast gonna come back out of that bottomless pit. Go ahead.
And go into a perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is.
Right. The beast was, the beast is not, but yet it is. Meaning yet that beast does exist. It's wrong. It's Babylon the Great. That's what we read earlier. Mystery. It said upon her forehead was written, she been carrying the beast. Even though the beast carrying her, I'm saying she been carrying the beast like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like Rome will always be here. I'm going to prove that in a second. Go ahead.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth.
Now, if we were to just Google like the 7 hills of Rome, what you will find out is Rome sits on 7 hills. I'm not making this up, y'all. That's something you can just type up in your own phone. 7 hills of Rome. They're going to give you all the names of it and everything. But it go deeper than that. Go ahead.
There are 7 kings.
So now he's saying, now there are 7 kings. Go ahead.
5 are fallen.
5 of these kings are fallen.
And one is, and the other is not yet come.
All right, so I'm going to give y'all the name of each one of these kings. And what I'm going to do while we're talking about it is I'm going to just simply type up their name on my phone. You can do the same. And we just going to read the introduction sentence to each king. So the first king we're going to look up is Justinian. Now, my phone, I guess because I done did it a few times, when I put in Justinian, it tell you off the rip, Holy Roman Empire. All right? Justinian, and we're going to go back to our map, make sure we get this all on here. And this is what kept the beast alive. So let's see where we're going to go. Let's go back to our second time on here. Yeah. More room here. More room here. So look, the first one is Justinian. And when you read the first thing it says, Justinian, the first, also known as Justinian the Great, was the Eastern Roman Emperor. That's what it was, Eastern Roman Emperor. He ruled 527 to 565. So what I'm about to show you are the different people who kept this beast that was and is not, kept him alive. So you got Justinian. Then after, I don't want to mess him up. I got them all in order this time, even though I kind of know him. After Justinian, we got Charlemagne. So we're going to look him up. I'll spell his name for you if you don't know how to spell his name. But his name is Charlemagne. Charlemagne. So when I type up Charlemagne on my phone, first thing it says, former Holy Roman Emperor. Before I even get to tag his name. Not the other Charlemagne. You know, Charlemagne the guy came up too. Dude. I know, right? So Charlemagne, he was around, I didn't write Justinian dates down, but it's okay. Charlemagne he was around, he was born, let me see, what year we want to put on here? Let's just put 700 to 800. That's how we'll do that. All right? Justinian was before him. Charlemagne, when it says Charlemagne, before I even get into it, former Holy Roman Emperor. Everybody who ruled in this time. When you go in and do your own homework on these names, you're going to be like, oh, these people were unifying the whole, they were ruling in the banner of the Holy Roman Empire. Right. It was like, they were Christian, you know, Catholic Christian, and they was coming with that banner. The next one, Otto the Great. Yes, sir. Otto the Great, O-T-T-O. And before, like I said, before I can even put his name up, it say Otto the Great, Holy Roman Emperor. Otto. I'm gonna spell it out for you. O-T-T-O. That's the only one I really can't spell. The Great. And he ruled around 900. That's how we're gonna do that. Like it give you the real date.
Do we have anything to do with the Ottoman Empire?
Excuse me?
Do Otto the Great, do he have anything to do with the Ottoman Empire?
The Ottoman Empire comes way later.
Okay.
He could, but because of his name, you know what I'm saying? But the Ottoman Empire really comes later.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the Ottoman Empire is
right? 1600, late 15, 16?
Yeah. Ottoman Empire. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the date so you can see. The Ottoman Empire, is founded in 1299 based off of just the first, and this dude is some years earlier.
Yeah.
But that's the key though. He is ruling over the Ottoman Empire land as well though. That's why I'm like, I understand, like it could indirectly be named Otto based off of Otto the Great, but like he is not the Ottoman Empire ruler. He's the Holy Roman Emperor. Okay? And you gotta understand, like Justinian ruled out of Byzantium, which is where the Ottoman Empire is. And I wouldn't be surprised, I think Otto the Great did too. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like that's a whole other conversation. Really. But so they did even rule in those lands. Okay? So after Otto the Great, we have Charles V. Charles V. Charles V is, oh wait a minute, hold on, I skipped one. No, I didn't. We right. Charles V, that's right. Charles V is next.
Sister said Otto might have been the grandchild.
Or granddaddy, you said? Oh, could.
Yeah.
So Charles V was around, now he was around the 1500s. And he was the former Holy Roman Emperor. And that's what you're going to find for all of these people. Now, let's get back to, let me give you the next two. Napoleon and Mussolini.
Napoleon Bonaparte?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you how they all fit so that we can all comprehend it, too. So, let's go back to the Bible. And it said, verse 9. Read verse 9 and 10 again. And we're going to put it all together with those names, what they all did, how this worked. Go ahead.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings.
So now it said there are 7 kings. Go ahead.
5 are fallen.
Actually, 6 of them there. Because at some point they all got to fall. But it says 5 are fallen. Go ahead.
And one is.
One is still yet to come. Go ahead.
And the other is not yet come.
All right, so here go these kings. Justinian. Charlemagne, Otto the Great, Charles V, Napoleon, Mussolini. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We still waiting on one more at the end. Man, we're going to have a final one. Now, all these men ruled under the Holy Roman Empire. Napoleon, he said he was bigger than the Holy Roman Empire, but that's when he still ruled though. You know what I'm saying? And when they tried, when the Pope tried to knight him, he took the sword and knighted himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't get down with you. Like, he's one of my favorite characters in history. Do you remember about this guy? You know what I'm saying? So that's where they get the Napoleon complex from. Yeah. And then Mussolini. What did Mussolini do? Hey, Mussolini is the reason why we have a Vatican City right now. Because through all of that, during World War II, he the one that handed over the Vatican over to he handed over the Vatican over to the Holy See, is what they call it, over to the Pope and all that. Okay, so those are your kings of this Holy Roman Empire that kept Rome alive. Because remember, we read in Revelation 13 that Rome had died, but those men kept it alive. And when you do your own homework, I did it. So that's why I'm confident enough to tell you that who they are. Like, you're going to see, like, yo, they really was Roman emperors. Like, everything, the way they moved, what they said, the landmass that they ruled, they were the Roman emperors, even though they all didn't necessarily rule out of Rome. Some was in Spain. Like we were saying, Justinian, I think he was over there in the Byzantine Empire, which was the Ottoman Empire as well, years later. But it ain't about where they ruled, because ultimately they was ruling the world. And they was ruling under what banner? So going back to the Bible, Revelation chapter 17, verse 11. He said, 10. He said that there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and one is, the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and go into perdition. So what we're getting at is, you're going to have, here's a simple way of putting that. You're going to have 7 kings. We're just going to say, we're going to do it on this. You're going to have 7 kings that keep Rome alive. All right? 7 kings. But the 7th king is going to be all the way at the end. Meaning, Rome going to have a king at the end, and they're going to have a religious leader at the end. So at the end, Rome going to have 2. 1 king and 1 false prophet. There you go. 1 false prophet. That's what's going to be at the end with Rome. All right? Now, let's go back and read it again. Because we kept having that little horn, but now we got the military getting pulled in here. So he said, verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth in perdition. So what he's saying is, we got 7 kings, but then we got an additional 8th guy. Go ahead, keep reading.
And verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet,
Right.
but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So at the end, he's saying, like, look, it's going to be 10 kings at the end. Remember the 10 toes? Iron mixed with clay? They're going to give their power over to the beast. Somebody asked the question, but why is it iron mixed with clay? What is the issue? We're going to see the issue when we get to Daniel 11. All right? So he said, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and should give their power and strength unto the beast. These should make war with the Lamb. So at the end of it, look what we're talking about. They're going to make war with Jesus. That's how we know where we at. Go ahead.
And these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings.
See, at the end of it all the time, we still get the same outcome. Jesus wins. That's what we get every time. Go ahead.
And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Uh-huh.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues.
Then we saw that earlier, the whore that sit on many waters. The waters represent the people. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
See, notice, the 10 horns, they hate the whore. So the kingdoms actually who rule Europe, France, Spain, Germany, whatever these nations are, these European nations, they actually don't like the church, because the church, it's been a scrimmage all the time between church and state.
Separations.
Yeah, so it's like, yo, they don't like the fact that the church is trying to hold all this power, but at the end of the day, that is who holds the power, the church does. Like, which is more detrimental? You going to do 20 years in prison, or you doing an eternity in hell? You know what I mean?
Prison.
That's the opposite. What you say, right? Yeah, I follow what you said. I'd rather go to prison. I don't want to go to hell. So that means that if I'm holding hell over your head, I have more power. And so that's why the state, the governments don't like the church. Because the Pope hold all the power. Because he'd be like, yo, they didn't make it so bad. The Pope, that's the antichrist. He'll do it now. He'd be like, yeah, I'm sentencing you to hell now. Like, dang, like I don't get a second chance or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just over with. So, and that's the power that he executes, so they don't like one another. But go ahead, what verse?
Verse 16.
But all the power coming from Satan. Go ahead.
And verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
They're going to fight with her is what he's getting at. Go ahead.
For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
That's wrong. That's that great city that rule over the king. That's why the Pope is the only person I know that would go into any country, they're going to build him a throne. That's ridiculous. They don't make our president no throne when you pull up. They don't even get the Queen of England one when she pull up. You see what I'm saying? But the Pope, he pull up, he get a throne. Google it if you don't believe. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it yourself. You'll see what it look like. Because that's who he is. He the king of this earth. Let's wrap this up, y'all. Let's go to Daniel chapter 11 now. Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11. And we are going to start at verse 1, but we're going to jump out of here and take it to where we need to be. I just want us to go back in time so we can understand when this is written. Go ahead. Daniel 11 and 1. When you get there, go ahead.
Also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede.
Right, so now Daniel already been through the Babylonian dynasty. Now he's in the Medo-Persian Empire. So he was like, Darius, the first year of the Medes, I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. Go ahead, verse 2.
And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia.
Right, so basically, in this particular chapter, Daniel is going to run it all the way down to the end. Now, we ain't going to read all of this, and there's a lot of stuff that already happened in history, true indeed. But we're going to start at verse 21. And from there, we're going to walk it all the way to the end. And I ain't going to do a whole lot of interrupting, hopefully, so that we can get through it. But this is like putting it all together. So when you get to verse 21, go ahead. Daniel 11 and 21.
And in his estate...
Who is his? His is the antichrist. All right? He the head of it all. So in his estate, what's going to happen?
Shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, and obtain the kingdom by flattery.
So when we get to the end, this is why him and the kings don't get along, because he come through lying. You come through flattering, you come through lying with deception. Go ahead.
And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant.
Go ahead.
And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, and spoil, and riches. Yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds.
So he's still talking about the Antichrist. He say coming in peaceable. You know what I mean? Like that's what's gonna happen. But we saw in Revelation where it's like he's gonna take peace from the earth. Because ultimately he's a liar. So when he's saying peace, don't believe it. That's the point. Go ahead.
Even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain.
Go ahead.
And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table. but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed.
So all we looking at right now is we looking at details of how they getting together and having they, talks, but it ain't gonna come to nothing. But this dude coming in here really talking peace as the world, as the great tribulation. So as the world is approaching the worst time ever, this guy coming in, but he's a liar. So he's gonna control the peace, like we was reading in Revelation chapter 6, where it say like this dude controlling it all. But go ahead, keep reading.
28. Then shall he return into his land with great riches.
So he gonna go back to Italy, back to Rome with great riches. Go ahead.
And his heart shall be against the holy covenant.
Yeah, but he gonna be against everything. Go ahead.
And he shall do exploits and return to his own land.
Uh-huh.
And at the time appointed, he shall return and come toward the south. But it shall not be as the former or as the latter.
Go ahead.
For the ships of Chittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
So basically, this dude here is like he gonna go back home, but then he gonna come back. He basically about to come back to take everything. So it's kind of like we left this meeting, we had this meeting, man. We're supposed to be all good, but when I got back, I left with the upper hand, the antichrist. I left with the upper hand. I left with the money, I left with the power, all that. So I'm coming back. Now south of me, who gonna push against me actually is the Arab. When you look at the map and you see where Rome is, south of Rome is Northern Africa. Northern Africa is not Hamitic. Northern Africa is Ishmael. And Ishmael gonna be fighting tooth and nail. Keep reading.
31.
Uh-huh.
And arms shall stand on his part.
So now he's saying that arms gonna stand on his part. Go ahead, keep reading.
And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
And they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
Right.
And such as do wickedly.
So this is your abomination of desolation coming here. They're gonna place them up in Jerusalem. Keep going.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery.
Uh-huh.
But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
Keep reading.
And they that understand among the people shall instruct many.
Uh-huh.
Yet they shall fall by the sword.
So look what he's saying. They that understand amongst the people, they're going to be instructing people, but they're going to still, this is the time of Jacob's trouble. So they're going to be getting killed too. Go ahead. This is why we should be in the wilderness, Lord willing. So we don't have nothing to do with this, hopefully.
Yet they
Some
shall,
of us will be though. Go ahead.
Yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame, by captivity and by spoil many days.
Uh-huh.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help. But many shall cleave to them with flattery.
Go ahead.
And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end.
So like he's saying that some of us gonna get tried during this great tribulation period. Keep reading though.
Because it is yet for a time appointed.
Uh-huh.
And the king shall do according to his will.
So this Antichrist gonna do according to his will. Go ahead.
And he shall exalt himself.
Yeah.
And magnify himself above every god.
Yeah.
And shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
Keep going.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor desire of woman, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all.
And when they say he's not going to regard the God of his father, because he's coming way different. All these other popes / antichrist, they wasn't coming just this bold with it. They still coming in the name of Jesus. This one right here, the last one, he's going to be like, nah, man, I'm God. Worship me. Go ahead.
But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things.
Keep reading.
Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory.
Uh-huh.
And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain.
Go ahead.
And at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him.
Right. So now, as he at the time of the end, the king of the south gonna push at him. So again, we got our map, and I'm not gonna walk it out, but hopefully y'all can see this. It's kind of big. But Italy is over here. South is Africa. All them nations in northern Africa, again, they're Arab nations. So he's saying the king of the south gonna push at him. What else? Who else gonna push at him?
And the king of the north shall come
Now,
against
the
him.
king of the north, really, we talking about Europe, but we talking about this part of Europe, like the part of Europe that was just Ukraine, you know what I'm saying, all that. They're going to be coming against him too. Go ahead.
And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind,
Uh-huh.
with chariots and with horses,
Keep going.
and with many ships.
Uh-huh.
And he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over.
Right?
He shall enter also into the glorious land.
He's saying that this Antichrist is going to enter. Now, on this map, the glorious lands is low. This is the glorious lands. So he's saying he's going to enter into the glorious land. So he's going to come from here, and he's going to be getting backlash from there, and backlash from there, really backlash from here. All of them trying to stop him from entering into the glorious land, or Jerusalem. Keep reading.
And many countries shall be overthrown,
Uh-huh.
but these shall escape out of his hand.
Yeah, and then hold on. Before you get to the ones that escape out of his hand, I want to see if I can't show y'all that too, real quick. But because basically it's gonna establish a border, for him to have, meaning where we are even. So let's see. Here we go. Yeah, this should help. So now we're gonna look at Asia. That's what they call this. All right. So go ahead and start calling out the border, or keep reading it.
Even Edom,
So look, he came from Italy, and he went through this Mediterranean. Here go the South, Egypt, Libya. These are Arab nations. They're gonna be coming up against him. He's gonna finally make it to the glorious land, and then go ahead.
even Edom,
Uh-huh.
and Moab,
Edom and Moab sit over here. Go ahead.
and the chief of the children of Ammon.
Uh-huh.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt
Yeah.
shall not escape.
See, Egypt, all of this. He gonna rule all of this. He gonna get to that Middle East. He gonna get to that Jerusalem where he gonna rule for 42 months. Go ahead.
But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver,
Uh-huh.
and over the precious things of Egypt,
Keep reading.
and the Libyans,
Yep.
and the Ethiopians shall be his steps.
He said the Ethiopia is gonna be at his step. So here go Ethiopia down here. So he like, yo. So basically what we about to show you is that's as far as it go. He don't get up into here. Cause this up here, that's Russia. That's the bear. You know, that's China, India. These folks they not worrying about, they gonna fight back. They gonna be the players that meet here at Babylon for Armageddon. So it's gonna be this side of the planet versus this side of the planet, which you can't really see a lot of this because this part was Africa over here. But go ahead.
But tidings out of the east
Uh-huh.
and out of the north shall trouble him.
Tidings out of the east, they go China, they coming east. India, all of them, they coming east. And the north, they gonna be troubling him. That's Russia up there, the bear. Go ahead.
Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy,
Uh-huh.
and utterly to make away many.
Go ahead.
He shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him.
And if you were to continue into the next chapter, you will see he gonna get his butt beat. And the first name that come up, and at that time, what time? The time that this dude coming through to conquer everything, shall Michael stand up, the great prince was standing for the children of his people. Like the Lord gonna come in and kick this boy butt. But let's finish this up. Let's go to, that was Daniel 11. Let's go to Revelation 18, and then we're gonna go back to Jeremiah, read a little bit there. And then we'll read Revelation 16 and 19. Yeah, we almost done, y'all. We ain't gonna leave it out though. We'll be all right. It's still the Lord's Sabbath day. So some days it get like this, where we come in here and we grind hard and try to learn something. Like I said, and if this seemed overbearing today, if it seemed like a whole lot of information, look, we got the video. Just go back and watch the video. Real talk. Just go back, watch it again. Go watch somebody else's. You ain't got to watch my, trust me, this lesson been done plenty times over. Matter of fact, I think Chris got a lesson called Babylon Come Out of Her or something. He should be on the same subject. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you hear a Babylon joint in the title, it's pretty much covering some aspect of what we hitting today. Okay? So again, and it's not like this above your pay grade. This ain't even hard. It just might be a lot of information to retain. You like, man, you got this country, you got this king, you got all of that. Well, number one, it took me time to get it too. You know what I'm saying? But number two, once you get it, you got it. It ain't gonna go nowhere. You're gonna comprehend it, you're gonna see it. But more importantly, when you start watching the news and you start watching the events take place, you understand clearly. When I watch this stuff, I know clearly who doing what, when, where, how. I know if I need to pay attention to this or not. You know, they get to talking about the Illuminati and the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderbergs and all that stuff right there. See, I know if it makes sense or not, because if it don't point back to this information that I do have, then it ain't even relevant. It don't matter who ruling what. You know what I'm saying? So just things of that nature as we approach the end. Okay? So at any rate, Revelation 18, 1 through 6. When you get there, man, go ahead and read it.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen.
Right, so at the end of it all, this Babylon the Great is going to fall. Period. This system that we in will not stand, will not last. And if you understood, or if you watch Rome, I'm talking about the Rome from back in the day, with the Caesars and all that, you'll see how it fell, and you'll pretty much understand that America is a replica of Rome. And we doing what they doing. Corrupt government. That's where we at with them now. But that was their end stage. Corrupt government was their end stage. And that's where we are now. But go ahead, keep reading.
And is become the habitation of devils.
And this is what Babylon had to start with, devils. Go ahead.
And the hold of every foul spirit.
Yeah.
And the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Right.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
So you know what it's saying? Come out of her, man. At the end of the day, that's what the whole moral of the story. Get out of Babylon, man. Get out of the Babylonian mentality. Get out of these Babylonian churches. Get up out of there. You're like, well, what is the Babylonian mentality? What is the Babylonian churches? Man, we've been reading it. The Babylonian churches is all these churches that say they Christian, but they go to church on Sunday morning. That's the Babylonian, and she the mother of all those harlots. And then the mentality is this whole worldly system that we caught up in. Because notice what else it's going to say. Go ahead.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquity.
Go ahead.
Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled with her double.
Just read verse 9 for me.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her. And when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
And 12.
The merchandise of gold. And
11. Read 11.
And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her.
Right, so what I'm trying to get you to understand is, like, everybody is a part of this system. You walk into the store, you walking into the Babylonian system. That's why you can't go to the grocery store in the month of November without hearing doggone December music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all a part of this system. That's why the store changed colors every season, not because of the season, but because of whatever holy day that they got. Not our holy day. Holiday is what they call it. Whatever days they got, though. You know what I'm saying? The store gonna change colors. It's like a command. If you the boss of a store, like if you the boss of a Walmart, and you ain't got certain music playing, and your store ain't set up a certain way for the Halloween or the Easter or the Mother's Day, you fired. You stupid. Like, you know what they gonna? You an idiot. You thought you could work here in retail, have this position, and not bow down to the beast. That's what they doing, bowing down to the beast. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to Jeremiah 51 now. You're going to see the end, more of this destruction. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51. We're almost done. But like I said, I just hope that we got something today. You know what I'm saying? Something that we can add to our mental repertoire to understand what the Lord been doing and what he gonna do. Furthermore, to understand something else, though. Look, man, it's old what I'm teaching you today. Somebody come with something new, chill with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this old been well thought of, been well searched out. It's a reason why it's old now. It's a reason why I'm doing the same lesson that Brother Bowie did 20 years ago. because it's been well searched out. You know what I'm saying? Like we could keep riding this vein. I can give you so much. We could do this a whole nother 3-4 hours, I promise you. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is when something new come, like, man, relax. Let it sit the test of time. You know what I mean? It's just like your car. You got an old car. I'm gonna tell you, my granddaddy, we had a 1975 Impala. My granddaddy worked in Chrysler though. And he would have, every 2 years, he would get a new Chrysler. But I noticed that he kept that candy apple red 75 Impala, and that was his car. You know what I'm saying? Whereas that little Chrysler that we would get, the LeBaron, the Fifth Avenue, you know, all that, he would get that new car to his wife. Now, my granddaddy getting that car, cranked that car up every time. It was the old. It was reliable. He knew everything about this new car. He would call it a piece of junk. You work there. You know what I'm saying? You work at the plant. You telling me it's a piece of junk. He telling you something. So what I'm saying is, but then guess what? Eventually, my grandma got to keep one of those pieces of junk. Because one of them stood the test of time. That was that dynasty. She picked up the Dodge Dynasty. She kept that one for a while. You understand what I'm getting at? So the point that I'm getting at, or the picture I'm saying is that when people come in here with this new stuff, look, it's a reason why we still on the old. So why don't you just let it sit there for a while? Let's see how it dries. You know what I'm saying? See if it makes some weather. You know what I'm saying? See if these door panels don't start breaking. Because they are, I'm telling you. After a while, you'll see, it might sound good at first. You know, it might look good, might look pretty, but I'm going to tell you something, though. That candy apple red Impala my granddaddy had still look good to this day. I'm saying, I wish we could have kept that one. My auntie wrecked it. But the point I'm getting at is when I see one, it still look good. So I say all that to be careful, because everybody going to have something new to tell you. And it's okay. Maybe it is something new one day out here but look, this old school, like this stuff right here undefeated, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't beat this. I don't care what other doctrine you come with. You can't beat this. I've already tried. You can try it. I ain't trying to tell you not to. Let's wrap this up. Jeremiah 51, verse 1 through 9, and then we're going to jump. Jeremiah 51, verse 1 through 9. When you get there, go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, and destroy a destroying wind, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land.
Right, that's what the Lord said, I'm going to destroy. But what Babylon are we talking about? We talking about the end time Babylon. We talking about the Rome. We talking about this world. Go ahead.
For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifteth himself up in his...
yeah, that's like a military word.
Brigadier.
Yeah, that.
Brigadier.
Yeah.
And spare ye not her young men. Destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans. And they that are thrust through in her streets.
Go ahead.
For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God.
Notice what he said, like when it's all said and done, Israel wasn't forsaken, nor Judah of his God. We started this lesson with Israel going into captivity. We ended it with us coming out. Israel ain't been forsaken, Babylon, even though you done had your neck on my neck, you done had your knee on my neck. Go ahead, keep reading.
Of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
Look what he's telling you, flee out of the midst of Babylon. Go ahead.
And deliver every man his soul, but not cut off in her iniquity. Oh, be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense.
Go ahead.
Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, be she may be healed.
Go ahead.
When would have healed?
We would have healed Babylon. Go ahead.
We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the sky.
Let's jump down to verse 44.
And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. And lest your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor of violence in the land, ruler against ruler.
Go ahead.
Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon.
Yeah.
And her whole land shall be confounded, and her slain shall fall in the midst of her.
Go ahead.
Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. For the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith the Lord. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall,
Go ahead.
so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Yet that ye that have escaped the sword, go away and stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind.
Go ahead.
We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces. For strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will do judgment upon her graven images.
Upon Babylon's graven images. Go ahead.
And thou all her land, the wounded shall roam. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord.
Like, I don't care how powerful Babylon get. He said, although Babylon don't mount up to heaven, like we don't reach to the moon and beyond. He was like, I'm still going to destroy it. He was like, though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength. Just think about that. Like we got missiles right now that leave the planet and come back in. You know what I'm saying? Though we might fortify her strength, yet from me, it's the Lord talking, shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. Go ahead.
A sound of a cry coming from Babylon, a great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. Because the Lord hath spoiled Babylon, and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered.
Go ahead.
Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. For the Lord God for the Lord God of recompenses shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Yeah.
The broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire.
Yeah.
And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary.
All right, so I'm going to leave these next two, Revelation 16 and 19, for your homework. It's just talking more about how the Lord going to destroy Babylon all the way to the end. Revelation 16, that's Armageddon. That's when it's going to go down. And then Revelation 19 is really the origin of where this lesson came from, which was understanding, what's going to happen when somebody entered the lake of fire. But the heads of Babylon going to be the first two in the lake of fire. The Antichrist and that beast, the military leader and the Pope. They're going to be the first two. We're going to see them in the lake of fire before anything. That's how pissed the Lord, before Satan go. You're going to see, the lake of fire made for Satan and his angels, but you're going to see the head of Babylon, both military and religious, in the lake of fire for 1,000 years before you see Satan. That's how pissed he is at Babylon. Let's look at our last verse for the day, for this lesson. Psalm 138. Psalm 138. Psalm 138, and this will be where we wrap it up at. And if you got any questions after we done, feel free to come in. I got way more information, more books that I brought. All these books, I just don't want to complicate stuff. So that's why most of the time I try to tell you to go and pick up your own phone. You can see it yourself. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you what to Google. That'd be the thing. And when I say Google, like I'm saying search for inside the Google search engine. You know, that's what that is. And it's going to lead you to some website, or Google may even provide. Wikipedia is the most common thing. And Wikipedia, contrary to the argument maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it's only an online encyclopedia. I haven't had to buy, I grew up reading encyclopedias. I haven't had to buy, yeah, it was my punishment from my grandparents. So, hey, it wasn't like I just wanted to read them. But I haven't had to buy an encyclopedia pretty much since I've learned Wikipedia. Don't let people propagate it and tell you the information is on there wrong. Find the wrong information. Challenge it with something else and then bring it out then. Trust me, Wikipedia changing. They don't want to be the online wrong encyclopedias. So ain't nothing wrong with using that as your source of information, all right? I know even schools sometimes, there used to be a point where they wouldn't let you use it. I think now they do let you use it. Because even they've come to, you say they don't let you use it? It depends. Your school might didn't, but schools do let you use Wikipedia as a source. I'm absolutely positive of that. Psalms 138, and we'll read verse 1 through 9. But that's the reason why, though, because they saying that Wikipedia is open sourced and it can be changed. But the only thing they changing is people's birthdays, I promise you. Other than that, if something happened in history, it happened. Ain't nobody gonna change that. Psalm 138, we're gonna finish this up, verse 1 through 9. When you get there, go ahead.
I will praise thee with my whole heart. Before the gods will I sing praise unto thee.
Yeah.
I will worship toward thy holy temple, and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above
No,
all.
I'm sorry, I messed up. It should be Psalm 137, not 138. I'm sitting here looking like this ain't right.
Y'all sit around and wait for verse 9 on that one.
Yeah, that's when I peeped it too. Like, I'm looking at it like, why isn't that 9 verses? I'm sorry, it's Psalm 137, yo. That was my morning, y'all. I apologize. I had one of them mornings where 7 looked like 8. So Psalm 137, yeah, this makes more sense. Go ahead.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion.
This when we was leaving Babylon. Go ahead. We was leaving Zion. Go ahead.
We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof.
Yep.
For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
Yeah, when we left up out of Israel, they made us sing a song. Just like when we got here.
Like it
Man, they make you sing a song.
song.
There you go, man. Go ahead.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Go ahead.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
You're like, man, how we gonna sing God's song in this strange land? Like, we ain't at home. Go ahead.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
Go ahead.
If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Yeah, remember what they did. Go ahead.
And the day of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
Y'all see that? Like, at the end of the day, he like, man, the Lord gonna reward Babylon like they did us. Go ahead.
Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone.
So, brothers and sisters, I hope that we got a little better understanding of Babylon and some end time prophecy, and how Daniel and Revelation, how all that tie in hand in hand. And I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Don't worry, next week won't be that difficult. We'll do something easy next week. You know what I mean? But look, we got the whole Bible to learn, and we got to learn it. So some days going to be like this, but I hope it was interesting. So look, to our announcements. Announcement number one. We have a dress code. I know it's hot. Look, man, and I'm looking around, and I don't necessarily see an issue. So I'm not pointing any fingers, but if we don't say it now, then later on it's going to be a problem. Look, brothers, we're gonna start with y'all. Man, you need to come up in here with some respect. I don't need to see your prints. You understand what I'm saying? I don't need to see brothers in tight pants either. I'm not seeing that. I'm talking about like tight pants. Like, nah, we don't wear that in here. They need to have some looseness to it. So when, your pants, that was brought to my attention too. Brother, and I know I be pulling up my pants a lot. Let me explain something to y'all. I done went from a 40 to a 34 to a 36 to, so look here, man. I'm just saying, like, I have to put new holes in my belts, but I don't want my clothes hanging down my butt either. You know what I mean? So brothers, make sure you keep yourself aware of that. Your pants don't need to be hanging off your butt. Have some respect when you walk in here. Although this might be a hotel, we operate like it's a house of God, so treat it as such. In the scriptures, man couldn't walk in there at the tabernacle, and guy, he had to have on underwear. Right. Otherwise, he was going to be dealt with. So I'm saying, dress code been around. Let's make sure we keep it. Sisters, I know it's hot outside. You know what I'm saying? So I know that, the world let us wear certain things. But look, when we come up in here, I don't need to see your bosoms. I don't need to know how big your bottom is. I don't need to know how fine your thighs is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not me or any other brother. But what is you doing looking? We can't help it. You just walked past us. We just came and gave you a hug. Whatever the case may be. And I'm not making an accusation toward anybody at all. What I am saying is that I just need to address it every now and again before it does turn into an issue. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it there. I'm looking around. I'm like, it don't look like an issue, but yet and all, I'm just letting everybody know that does exist. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got dress code. Make sure we keep it, because we don't do the normal announcements like we usually do, which we will mention that all the time. Also, tomorrow, I expect full participation, y'all. We having a party by my house. That's what I'm saying. Because really, we having the clothing giveaway. It is by my house. What is the name of that park anyway? Powell Park. All right, for those that don't know the name, but it's on Mill Street, right? Because it's the Mill Street, which is a street off of Main Street once you come into Darby. So if you was to like leave here, for example, if you were, let's just say you were to leave here and you would go back to the freeway, you would take that street, the freeway that you would basically get on is Island. You would take Island all the way up to Main Street, Woodland. That's the same street. Right. It's also Main Street if you go left. When you're going to go left, you're going to drive down until basically you're going to go past one light and the second light. And basically once you get past 7th and 8th Street, then you could be able to turn left. You'll see a small park over that way, behind the cleaners, behind Alforno's, across from the post office. I'm just trying to give y'all an idea of where it is. I don't have the address like that. But of course you can Google, what's the name of the park one more time? Powell Park, all right.
39 Mill Street. I sent a flyer out with the address on the bottom, and it will show you on maps how to get there.
Perfect. Now, what we doing there? Number one, we are having a book bag, school giveaway, clothing drive, all that good stuff. So it's time to clean out your closet. I took my kids to wash clothes yesterday. We washed a bunch of clothes. Please don't bring stinky, dirty clothes up there to no kids or nobody. You don't go to the store expecting to pick up stinky, dirty clothes. We're not giving away stinky, dirty clothes tomorrow. Make sure your stuff clean. But we are trying to give, clothes out to the neighborhood and to whomever come by, even if it's amongst ourselves. Like if you see something and you feel like it's okay. If it used to be mine and now he want it, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's about us giving away our stuff to somebody else. That's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Doing for somebody else, having some charity. That's what it's about. We'll be out there. What's the time? 12 we starting? 11?
So we need to be out there at 10. The flyer says 12, but we have a party 10 to set up and whatnot.
Copy that. So, y'all heard Sister Mildred. I said so. I said, man, we wouldn't have no church if it wasn't for Sister Mildred. Y'all don't know. But this was something happened yesterday, and I'm sitting here. I think we was texting back and forth. I was like, man, don't nothing get done. Sister Mildred don't get it done. But we'll be there. So look. The setup time, the fun time started at 12. If you bringing stuff, you bringing clothes, bringing food, bringing more food to get on the grill, whatever the case may be, you need to be there early. You need to be there at 10 o'clock. We're going to be there all day. We're going to have the bouncy house. Isn't that what it is? We're going to have the bouncy house for the kids. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be there all day to enjoy it. You know what I mean? The food this time, the barbecue stuff, is for us. Now, when I say it's for us, it is for us. But if you know me, I ain't mean. So if somebody happen to ask me for something, I'm giving it to them. Don't matter who you are. But we are not supposed to be serving the community food. That's what, that's the ordinance. We're not supposed to be serving the community food. Like, is it all food or?
I don't know, I went back and asked yesterday for them to read me the statement, and it had something to do with peddling food. And I said, well, we're not peddling food.
Trying to think we're gonna
So
sell
I
stuff.
said hungry, and they want a hot dog.
Yeah, don't make sense.
That's what I'm getting at. We sharing hot dogs though, y'all. But if you bring anything else out there that you would like to put on the grill, that's cool. All I can say is there will be charcoal, there will be a grill. Do not expect for me to grill it. There will be more than one grill out there. I got a grill that I'll be bringing, and then we got one in storage that I'll make sure gets picked up. I'll probably end up picking it up.
And we need the tables out of storage.
They all in storage.
Yeah, I seen them all too. They're in the back.
Brother, you might be aware of all things we need to put outside. We're gonna put the pop-up tents out.
Yep.
And you need to bring your chairs.
Chairs, yeah, there wasn't no place to sit.
Yeah, so basically, look, we having a party tomorrow, we having a church picnic, and at the end of the day, if you want to sit down or if you want to be able to get some tent room, that's gonna be something that you have to provide, but we'll be out there all day. We'll have drinks, we'll have hot dogs, and we giving out, hot dogs, hamburgers, and we giving out things to the community. That's tomorrow, and I do expect, even if you show up, throw deuces and leave, like I really do expect participation from everybody, because this is what we do as a church. You know what I mean? And I understand somebody got to work, all that. You ain't got to come explain it to me. But I'm saying, like, don't be sitting at home. Ain't no football on tomorrow. Don't be sitting at home talking about you don't want to miss the NBA finals. It ain't on either. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got nothing to do between, like I said, you can come help at 10, or you can help close it down at 6:30, 7 o'clock, or you can participate throughout that whole time period. I guess that's enough on that. All right, make sure y'all keeping people in prayer. Of course, always, Sister Mildred, Earl, Joyce, Bill, Sister Elizabeth, yep, Sister Elizabeth, Brother Jackson, make sure you, look, I be seeing Elizabeth on Facebook more than anything else, and I don't talk to her as much as I probably should, but I think she had something go on this week where she had to go to the mouth surgeon or something, or I don't know. Look, man, y'all keep that sister in prayer. Especially y'all ladies, y'all reach out to her if you can, check in on her. I know where she stay. If y'all trying to send something to her that can't be Amazoned or whatever, let me know. I'll take it out there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no problem driving all the way over there to where she stay, because she stay about an hour away, to get her anything. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to cook a meal for her, whatever. Between me and Chris ain't got no problem either. You know what I'm saying? We'll go out there, we check on her or whatnot. But look, she a part of us. Look at that, Elizabeth, see? That's my point. I'm looking at the thing. She sent the blue heart to all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's always with us. Even though, and she would want to be in building if she could. So make sure y'all praying for her and also keeping a line of communication with her. Make sure you keep Sister Lenora in prayer. Things still a little rough. You know what I'm saying? So keep that sister in prayer. Pray for my house. Raquel's sick. Y'all see she ain't here. She don't never miss. Y'all see we half and half because the well soldiers managed to walk out and the rest stayed back. But just keep the house in prayer. You know what I'm saying? We'll be okay. Ain't nobody about to die or nothing like that. But, bad enough to keep you home. So, what else? Am I missing anything, y'all? Anybody? Oh, yep. Back out in the streets next week like we always do. You know what I'm saying? We're going to ride this way. Like I said, we're going to ride this way until we get to the feast days. Then we're going to figure out from there how we're going to operate. Say that, bro?
Got anything for trumpets?
Talking about the trumpets? Yeah. I'm saying we'll keep eating the streets until that time period. And then from there, we'll figure out how we're going to map it out. Because really the objective is by next Unleavened Bread, we're going to try to crew it up where we out there every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just be out there every other week, but it's for us, we doing a lot. Like when I say we doing a lot, like by us going over there, because it ain't like it's around the corner. So we traveling almost an hour away, 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? We caravan. It's not difficult on the people that's doing it. Like, to me, I ain't seen a difficult day yet. But I can just imagine to some it might be a little challenging. So, like I said, I feel you. Rob looking like, nah, bro. But, right, because he get out there. But I'm saying we're going to try to pick it up every week come next year. You know what I'm saying? But right now, we every other week, and we getting out there, and we trying to, help the less fortunate out there in that area that we can. Bible study should start. What we got to place today, till 7?
Yes.
Okay, so Bible study can start at 5:15. They give us 30 minutes to eat. Is there anything that I missed? Oh, keep Sister Jacob, what's your mom name? Joy. Okay, I thought so. Make sure y'all keep Sister Joy in prayer too. I don't see her in here today. I don't see Sister Steph, so make sure y'all pray for her. Like I said, Raquel and them. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm forgetting somebody, y'all can yell it. I said Jackson, Elizabeth, Shanita, Jose. Keep them in prayer. Yeah. Yeah, keep my mom in prayer. I ain't hear you, bro. Oh, okay. I thought you was there. All right, y'all. So with that being said, is there anything else before we stand? Face Jerusalem, close it out. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here.
Our Father, which art in heaven,
Our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
thy will be done in earth
Thy will be done on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good,
He is good,
and his mercy endureth forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good, and his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel,
Holy One of Israel,
the Mighty One of Jacob,
the mighty one of Jacob,
the King of Kings,
King of kings,
and Lord of Lords.
and Lord of lords.
In Jesus' name,
In Jesus' name,
amen.
amen. The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
Lord bless thee and keep
The
thee.
Lord make his face shine upon thee,
Lord make his face shine upon thee,
and be gracious unto thee.
and be gracious unto thee.
The Lord lift up thy countenance upon thee,
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee,
and give thee peace.
and give thee peace.
And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
They shall put my name upon the children of Israel,
I will bless them.
and I will bless them.
Hallelujah! 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 In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name,
Amen.
amen.
So you did an excellent job. I know that was a lot of, so you looked at it like, oh, 20 scriptures, like, I know that was a lot of